This episode is presented to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours.
All we gotta do is get hot at the right time. We knew we was gonna win the national championship.
I'm playing with like guys that work for Fortune 500 companies against NBA players.
These guys are still some of my closest friends today. And I love those guys so much, and I love what we had so much that we ended up going back to school another year. You win, and you're able to do something that's bigger than you.
Besides Syracuse, who else was in the runnings to get you in college?
Yeah, I committed to like 5 schools.
Trying to figure it out.
I committed because I was just happy. Like, what? I'm walking around school with the book bag full of letters in my bag. Every day it's a new school. I'm like, oh, I'm coming. But I committed early to Syracuse.
Okay.
My junior year on my birthday. That was like my birthday present to me. And I was still at Towson. So when I get to Oak Hill, I'm like,
You get millions of letters.
this is what I'm saying. When you walk in the gym, every college coach in America is in there. So they looking at me like, yo, why you commit to Syracuse? And they like, you know you only committed. You know, you did a verbal.
You don't have to go.
You don't have to go. So I'm saying that, and we playing, and NBA scouts is in there. Every practice, the practice was like games. It was better than games.
Better than games.
So at that point, I'm like, oh, let me just try it. I'm gonna open it back up. And then I committed to I went like Georgia Tech. Jared Jack and Chris Bosh was going down Georgia Tech. So that was one of the schools. Jay Wright was just got the job at Villanova. So I wanted to go to Villanova, but they already had people. Carolina already had people in my spot. I forgot who was there. Jawad Williams was there at that position.
Your senior year of high school was 02?
My senior year was 02.
Okay.
Right. So then Syracuse was like, they had Preston Shumpert at the 3, and he was leaving. So I was like, oh, I can come right in and play right away. And that's why I really stuck with Syracuse.
So what was that experience like? I mean, you guys caught Magic in the bottle. You, Hakeem Warwick, with Jerry McNamara.
Yeah.
You guys made that run, and your 1 year in college, you won a championship.
I ain't never think I would do that shit. I'm gonna be honest. Like, we was a good team, but I ain't never think we was gonna be that good.
Right.
We to go 17-0 at home. I never lost in the Carrier Dome. People don't talk about that enough. Yeah, it's hard to do.
Hell
You know what I'm saying? So
Especially in the Big East, right?
in the Big East, this when the Big East was
the Big
popping
East.
at
Right.
that point in time. This was the Big East, the heart of it. So being at Syracuse and just that whole experience, man, we just clicked. Like, it was just something that clicked. We wasn't doing nothing special.
Right.
We clicked. And then once we started feeling more confident about ourselves, we're like, oh, we can beat this team? Or we can beat them? Oh, shit, we just beat Missouri. They was number 5. We just beat Georgia Tech. They was number 7. Oh, okay.
We know, yeah, all right.
We going into the tournament, and I'm like, look, all we gotta do is get hot at the right time.
That's all it takes.
That's it. And at that point, it was like, we knew we was gonna win the national championship.
What was your mental? I mean, obviously NBA is the goal, but college a pit stop. Did you ever think about jumping straight to the league once you did get to
Nah.
college? Was it one and done? Like, what was your mindset
Man,
there?
I could have came out of high school, but again, like, people don't understand, like, NBA never was my goal. Like, it never was. I just felt like I can never reach that. And you hear so much, you hear the stats. 1 out of every 1,000, you know what I'm saying?
Struck by
you start
lightning.
hearing
You got a
all
better
that.
chance to get struck by
So I'm
lightning.
like, there's no chance in hell I'm gonna make the league. So I ain't even thinking about the league. Let me just get to college. So when I got to college, I'm on campus. I'm like, I never want to leave this shit. Like,
Shit is dope.
I'm Syracuse Big East. It's popping up here. Like, I'm staying. And if you go back to the footage, even like my press conferences, I'm like, yo, like, forget 1 more year. Like, I thought you stay in school for 4 years. Like, I'm coming back. And then Boeheim was like, man, if you don't get your shit and get off my campus, man, we ain't trying to hear that. So he really kicked me off the campus, man. Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Right.
Made sense.
Winning has always been a part of your DNA.
Only winning.
High school champion, college, McDonald's All-American, and Michigan State. So this is the question I gotta ask. How many bags was thrown at you when you went to Michigan State?
A lot of people offered me money.
I knew it. What kind of bags, though?
Oh, they were big bags. And you know what? My father, he always gave me life lessons. So here I am. He said, we're not taking no money. I said, okay, cool. So I decided to stay close to home because my mother and father and all my brothers and sisters had never missed none of my games, and I wanted that to continue.
Right.
And I'm a mama's boy, so I love my mother, so I wasn't giving up her fried chicken and none of the other stuff she brought to the table, them hugs and everything, right? So my freshman year, we win the Big Ten, go all the way to the Final Eight. Kentucky beat us. Kansas City had the #1 pick, so they called me and said, hey, we want to draft you #1.
That's the Kansas City Kings, right?
Yeah, they were Kansas City Kings at
Good
that
move.
time. So I flew down, met with the dude named Joel Atkinson, the general manager, and he said, hey, I'm going to give you a 6-year deal, $200,000 a year. So, you know, I got excited. I've been broke my whole life.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, man, this is great.
Ching ching.
And so I jumped up, said, oh, I think that's good. My father grabbed me, and he pulled me, drugged me outside the door. He said, hold on, we'll be right back. He said, you've been broke for 18 years. You can be broke one more year.
You're not going to Kansas City.
I said, yes, sir. So you're going back to school.
Ooh.
So I went back to school, and I'm glad I did because I finished what I came to college for, which was to win the national championship and play against Larry Bird in that unbelievable final.
The most watched college championship ever.
That's right. To this day, still the most watched. And so to be linked with this dude who, you know, you saying, man, when I first met him, I said, all right, I'm going to see this dude, this white cat can really go like he's saying,
Because the verdict is always out on white boys that can hoop, with all due respect. It's always out.
It's respect. This ain't nothing bad. So I said, let me see what he can do.
But Larry had something that most white boys don't have. Just say that. Just keep it real.
Man,
Larry was different now. Larry was different now.
He had a little bit of nigger in him.
Yeah, he was different now. He was different now. Larry was different now.
That boy, he could play, man. He turned it out. We played on a team in college in a tournament together. This is the first time I ever sat on the bench. Him and I were on the bench. And we were like, the guys in front of us wasn't better than us, but Kentucky head coach was coaching the team, so he started 3 guys from Kentucky. So we said, okay. But when we got in the game, we turned it out. But I saw this dude eat Jack Givens up. He was player of the year that year.
Kentucky, right?
Yeah, from Kentucky. And Larry Bird was just slicing and dicing him. And I said, oh, I called home. I said, it's true about this boy. I was calling everybody, this dude can play.
Yeah.
And so that was my first time seeing him, and then to be out on the court with him in college for that national championship game, and then, of course, what happened in the NBA. But I would say that we got a chance to change the league.
Yeah.
You know what? What a blessing it was. He ended up in Boston, and then I ended up out here. My personality was LA, Hollywood. His personality was Boston.
Right.
And it worked for the whole league, you know, so everything was good.
Coming from a mid-major, did you ever think that Steph Curry would change the face of basketball the way it's played?
What you think?
Could you ever dream of it? You know what I mean?
I mean, you dreamed of it.
Right.
We all dreamed of playing in the league and doing amazing stuff, but
I never dreamed of changing the game. Though.
that's what I'm saying. I said playing in the league. I dreamed of playing in the league.
Yeah.
Playing the way that I know how to play the game. When I was at Davidson, man, I was 6'1", 160 pounds when I got there. And I found a coach that believed in me and gave me an opportunity to, you know, just go out and hoop and learn through my mistakes. I had 13 turnovers my first game at Davidson. And he didn't say nothing. He said, just keep hooping, next play mentality, all that type of stuff. So I took that confidence through my college career into the league, and though I was still scrawny when I showed up back in 2009 playing Nelly ball, like I knew what I was capable of and I just put the work in. I think 4 years later when started hitting all them threes and like pushing the record book in that respect, and like, you know, changing my range and just seeing the court a little different. That's when I knew this could be how I could cement myself in the league. And nobody was really like using it as a weapon like the way that I thought I could. And it's a confidence thing though. Like you put the work in, but it's a confidence thing. And yeah, now you got little kids in high school and middle school and younger just jacking up threes, and parents and coaches getting
For real, I coached
Curry.
I coached the kid. It was crazy because I mean we had a tournament this past weekend, and you know my boys, they've been around. Like we get out there early, and Isaiah's shooting from behind the 3-point line before he even dribbles or anything. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, Dad, I'm just getting warm. I'm like, you don't want to start close? He's like, no, I'm good. I was like, oh.
You gotta listen to the whole story, right? Because like that's my pops taught me the way to work on your game. Like start in the paint, get your confidence, see how it goes, work your way out. Like I learned that from a young age, and so now everybody sees the finished result and they want that.
The process.
And it's like the process is just lost. Yeah. And so hopefully they understand that. I mean, everybody can figure it out. It just takes some time.
So not very many people, like I said, you've changed the face of the game coming from a mid-major. You know what I mean? There hasn't been too many guys that have been able to do that. You know, CJ McCollum, Dame, Morant. Tell me what that was like, was coming from you. So you weren't really highly recruited. You know, you weren't at a top college, but we started seeing you come on the scene when you face these big schools. And to be able to take that mid-major game and really translate it and play it in the NBA is a huge credit to how hard you had to work.
Yeah, I think, like you said, coming from a mid-major, it's about who you get to play against and like that competition. Obviously, our conference, we played in the Southern Conference. I bet you couldn't name 2 other schools in that conference. Like that's part of the journey. But we, you know, Coach McKillop, who's still there, is like
are you still coaching there?
30th-ish year. They moved on to the Atlantic 10, so they moved up a little bit. But in terms of like when I was there, we played against the Dukes, the Carolinas, the NC States, came out here, played UCLA, and got exposed and understood what it took to be at that level once we got to the tournament, what it was going to take to win. My freshman year, I was thrown into the fire. I was playing like 37 minutes a game at the 2 spot. We had another point guard, Jason Richards, who was 2 years older than me and was like our best player at the time, and was like the steady guy, the steady hand. I got to learn from him. That next year, my sophomore year, kind of just took off. We had guys that knew their role. Everybody, you know, came selfless, did what they supposed to do. We were 2-6 in the first 8 games and playing those teams I was talking about. And we took that, learned from it, put it in our back pocket, got to the tournament, and then we started beating everybody. And so it's just a confidence thing. You got to know like that you can play with the best. It's not, you get labeled that, you know, mid-major, D1, whatever. That's just, you know, just the history of it. There's not going to talk about what we're about to do this year and whatever. And so you got, like you said, you know, Dame, CJ, Ja, and you can name them. There's guys that just want an opportunity to play, and they got the talent, they got the skill, they got that killer instinct. And now, you know, more and more guys are showing it in the league too.
It's funny you mentioned confidence because the 3 other guys you named besides yourself, they all carry themselves with high confidence. And I think it's kind of probably like that chip on my shoulder. Like, I don't give a fuck that I came from a mid-major. I'm still a killer out here.
Exactly.
Talk to us about your experience at Florida, obviously the back-to-back championships, but just life in that ecosystem, because there was a lot of professional athletes the time you were there.
No, Gainesville, that time was as special as it come. You know, it's your first time leaving home, being away from your family. And, you know, there was all those guys that you mentioned where we all lived in the same dorm, in the same place, you know. The stories are like, where do I start? But I actually watched the documentary not long ago, and there was a moment in that documentary where one of the kids got caught smoking a joint, and they kicked him off the team. And he went home and he got killed. And Urban Meyer touched on it, and he was like, you know what, I have to live with that. As the leader of this shit, I have to live with that, knowing that I kicked off a kid and this happened. So he was like, never again will that happen to any of my kids. I will never kick one of my, if I recruit them, they're staying with me. And I think that it gave them a bond that, you know, it allowed them to go all the way and win a championship. It's deep, you know. We were able to, obviously, you know, my roommate was Al Horford, and I had Corey Brewer, and I had Torian Green, Lee Humphrey, C. Rich, Walter Hodge. Like, these guys are still some of my closest friends today. And it was, we win the championship after sophomore year. And this was my first time where people were like, yo, you could be a top pick. You know, it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go to the NBA. And I love those guys so much, and I love what we had so much that we ended up going back to school another year.
Because you, Al, who else could have left?
Corey.
And Corey? All
Corey
three of you guys.
Left. Yeah. And we ended up staying another year because, you know, you can't, chemistry is just something you can't deny. You can't deny when you're open, you're getting the ball, you know your guys' tendencies, you just love hooping with the guys so much, and the brotherhood just becomes, it's like second nature, you know? And I'm really proud of that, you know, it was not about the money. And we showed it. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it's not about the money. No, but you know what? We let's run it back. There was no NIL. Shit, we were paying money. We were paying the Lloyds of London the insurance to stay. You know, that's what those years meant to us. You know, there was real sacrifice in it. And I think, you know, you can't, those years were as special as they come.
Obviously, you know, back-to-back champs and the bonds, but, you know, we went to school right over the hill in Westwood at UCLA, and although I had a ton of fun playing basketball, I probably had more fun not playing basketball. What were those nights like? Any stories you could share? I don't want to get nobody in trouble, but I mean, we mentioned some heavy names. Did you ever see T-Ball out there smoking a joint? What's happening with Cam Newton? Like, what'd you see out there that you could speak on?
It was wild. T-Ball was not wild.
At all?
No, he was, it's what made him though. You know, he was probably like on Fridays, he was probably reading his Bible, and he was serious. We had a class together. He was always doing the extra credit. You know, I was like, yo, like, you're a square, bro. Like, extra credit. But, you know, like, talk about like his competitive spirit. You couldn't deny that, you know, especially like, okay, you're going to school in the South, you know, that was crazy to me. It's like, you know, you're going down University Avenue, and that's like the main road on campus. And you got the black kids on one side, and you got the white kids on one side partying, and it's just like nobody mixed. And that, to me, that it was just like we were able, because of the sports thing,
to cross over.
It bridged a little bit more, you know, and that's the power of sports. And what we do and the platforms that we have is like, you win, it becomes so much bigger than rich, poor, black, white, all that stuff. You know, you're able to do something that's bigger than
you.
Bigger than you.
What was your college experience like, just as far as, you know, being a real student athlete and then being a superstar on a smaller team? What was that experience like?
It was like a movie, man. Like,
yeah,
it was literally like a movie. Like, I would do my whole college career over again. It was a great time, but it taught me how to balance life. Like, the academic course load was crazy at Lehigh. Like, the amount of studying you had to do to survive was unbelievable. Like, it taught you how to balance your time. It taught you how to do the impossible, you know, writing I was a journalism major, 30-page papers. I started off in the business school, learning about accounting and econ. Like, it was crazy the amount of dedication and focus you had to put into it. It was also crazy that I didn't spend a lot of time in the library early, I ain't gonna lie. I spent my time in the gym, and I dug myself in a hole, and then I had to like start going to the library, start trying to catch up, start trying to get ahead and figuring stuff out. But in terms of hooping, I used to go out, like let's say I went out with some of my friends or whatever, we go out till 12:31. I would come back and I'd go to the gym at 1 a.m. and I would work out, and I feel like I was still able to do the college student life, but also working towards becoming a professional. I think that's what kind of separated me, because I could balance the life that comes with being a college athlete with basketball, with academics, and then eventually figuring out, the social aspect of, who you gonna spend the rest of your life with. So I think it was a perfect combination of things that kind of fell into place for me. And I struggled early, which is why I probably succeeded late, because I had always struggled in life, and I was just like, all right, what do I have to do to kind of succeed, and I'll do it.
So your junior year, the 15th seed against the number 2 Duke seed. Take us back to that game and talk to us about it. You scored a game-high 30.
So when we drew Duke in the Selection Sunday show, I was geeked. I was super hyped because, for one, I hate Duke. I hate everything about him. And for two, just a full disclosure, I've always been a North Carolina fan, but I hate everything about him, and I felt like that was my chance to kind of solidify who I thought I was. Like, I always thought I was the man, but the rest of the world hadn't seen me yet. People that watched the mid-major basketball teams and mid-major programs, they knew I had NBA quality talent, but they weren't sure if it translated, and they weren't sure if I could sustain a high-level play against high-level athletes. And I was like, this is my perfect chance. I'm playing against Duke. They got Austin Rivers. They got Mason Plumlee. They got Miles Plumlee. They got 3 other NBA. They had Quinn Cook. They had like 6, 7 NBA players. And I was like, this is my chance to show who I am and to show I can elevate my team. Like, I'm playing with, I always joke, I said that my friends work on Wall Street, and I'm playing with like guys that work for Fortune 500 companies against NBA players. Like, the guys I play with are the accountants for the Duke players in 3 years from now. So if I can uplift them and play against them, this will solidify who I am. So I actually told my mom that we're gonna beat Duke and beat whoever played in the second round. I said we'll probably lose to Baylor, because Baylor got Pierre Jackson. They had all this Quincy Miller. They had all these like super athletes. And I was like, I don't know, like, we ain't really athletic around here at a Patriot League school. So I went out there, and in warm-ups, they was talking crazy. Like, you know how you go to half court, and they just talking out of pocket, like just saying ridiculous, reckless stuff, trying to like punk us in warm-ups. And I'm like, man, y'all ain't even built like that. Like first of all, Duke players don't even really be nice like that when they get to the league.
Ain't no gangsters going to Duke.
Right? So they was talking crazy at warm-ups, but then like once the game started, like I let them know I was here. I'm talking to the bench. I'm talking to Coach K after shots. Like, I'm letting them know I'm here. Like, I don't know what y'all been doing in the ACC, but ain't none of these like me. You know what I'm saying? And we ended up going to win. I think that was like the signature game for me to kind of solidify that, like, I can play in the league and I can hold my own. I can be a league guard. I can play off the ball. Like, I can give you whatever you want.
So after doing what you did to Duke, how did that kind of catapult you into the national eye and start kind of getting the respect you always felt you deserved?
I think it put me in that like mid-major stardom role, to where, you know, you had the Steph Currys, you had the Jimmer Fredette's, you had the George Hill situation, you had a lot of Eric Maynor, a lot of players who were in similar situations, you know, where they are able to beat a higher ranked team, a higher seed in the NCAA tournament. You had the Steve Nash situation where he was a 15, beating a 2 seed. It kind of put me in that same light, to where it was like, you know, he has NBA potential. XYZ, these types of players have done this. These are what his numbers are like compared to them. And then it kind of set me up to where I was the next season, I'm a preseason All-American. I entered the draft that year and had basically heard that I would be a late first-round pick, and I had to decide if I wanted to leave or go back to school. And I was like, I'm going back. Like, I always wanted to be the man. This is my chance to be the man, go to a small school. I wanted to, you know, some people don't want too much film on them. I was like, they can get as much film as they want on me. Like, I believe in my game. I know that I can get back to where I was at and take my team even further. And I firmly believe if I didn't fracture my foot, like, we was going to like the Elite Eight. Like, we had a bunch of seniors. We were a good team. We were about to be ranked in the country. We had a pretty good schedule. We was playing VCU. We were playing high major teams. Well, the high major teams that would play us, most of them was afraid. Also, the backstory, funny part is, so as I went to a small school like Lehigh, and I wanted to play every school that didn't offer me. So I wanted to play Penn State, I wanted to play Ohio State, I wanted to play the Dukes and North Carolinas, but every school in Ohio that didn't recruit me, I really wanted to play them. And then I got cut from the USA team. Matt Painter was the head coach, who was at Purdue. Boeheim was on the staff and 2 other coaches. So I went back home and I told our coaching staff, I want to play Purdue, I want to play Syracuse, I want to play all those schools. And they said that we'll play you when CJ leaves. That was the response. It's like, no thanks. So that's kind of how it went after that Duke game. I was just locked in and like determined to get to the next level. And I got to go to CP3. I got to go to Bronze Skills Academy. I got to go to all those things and really expose myself to like what it's like to play at the next level.
What's up, world? It's your boy Stack 5, Steven Jackson. Shout out to StockX. Say, man, we're gonna take y'all down memory lane. 2003 was the year I won the championship. I was with Adidas at the time. I wore a lot of different shoes. I wore the Kobe's, I wore the shell toes. You know, I was kind of fly at the time. But I'm gonna show y'all 2 pair of shoes that's real fly from 2003. StockX definitely blessed me with 2 of the hottest shoes that came out in 2003. Check them out. We're gonna start with Tracy McGrady T-Mac 2s. Ooh, Orlando colors. And if you don't have the X on your shoe, it didn't come from StockX. That's how you know it's official. Tracy gave me a lot of buckets in these. I remember him in Orlando. We had some battles when I was in Atlanta, but these shoes was the first of its kind. These were definitely some of the freshest shoes to hoop in 2003. See what we got in here. The beautiful StockX box. Ooh. The Kings. Appreciate the StockX. These fly. I mean, everybody to have a pair of these if you're a LeBron fan. These are special, man. I got LeBron's rookie year jersey signed. I gotta get these signed now. This is gonna be perfect. Rock and stash. LeBron arguably being the best player ever. Anything I get from him, I'm definitely stashing. These are like the holy grails. You gotta put these in a case somewhere if you can get them signed by the King. I would rock these. I still play basketball a little bit every now and then. This is a comfortable shoe. I'm gonna rock these. I'm gonna stash these. These mean more. So shout out to StockX for blessing me and taking me back to 2003, my championship year, with these LeBrons and the T-Mac 2s. Y'all go holler at StockX. Get fresh.
Tip off March basketball with Captain Morgan and DraftKings. Play free and take your shot at a share of $50,000 this March.
Head over to DraftKings.com/Captain Morgan to participate in the 5 free-to-play pools during college basketball's biggest tournament.
The contest starts March 16th and it'll go through March 28th. So enter now to get in on all the action.
Eligibility restrictions apply. Must be 21 plus to enter. Void where prohibited.
See DraftKings.com/Captain Morgan for details. Please drink responsibly. Hoop fans, the NBA trades have been crazy. Get in on all the actions with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook with Pick 6. Pick 6 is a fresh and exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All new customers who play just $5 will get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now, sign up using the code SMOKE to claim your offer. Getting started is simple. Pick just 2 players and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. Lock them in and compete against each other for a shot at huge cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now. Sign up using the code SMOKE, only at DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Dual sport athlete, quarterback. What was your style like? You were a thrower, runner, both?
Yeah, both. Yeah,
Okay.
I could throw it.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, back then we ran a lot of options too, but I could throw it. You know, it wasn't the typical just run all the time. Being an athlete, I could throw it.
It's something about football though, because I played football too, and I
You was
went
a
on
bad
some
boy.
trips. Yeah, I went on some
Receive
trips.
it. Yeah, you ain't just play. Yeah.
Appreciate you. But the thing about when you
I could've
go,
threw you a couple
when
touchdowns.
you go to these stadiums, you see 85,000 or 100,000. I mean, I love basketball. I'm glad I chose basketball, but there's not. I get chills thinking about just them being in them stadiums, and you almost committed to actually play high major college football.
Yeah, that's my only regret in life, that I never got a chance to play football.
That's at least 1 year.
Yeah, and to be honest, my freshman year was so-so. I was like 10 points and 5 assists, so it was all right. But coming in as a McDonald's, you know, it's a lot of hype, but people didn't know I went through the back issues and all that stuff. So me and Coach Izzo met with Nick Saban. He was the football coach at Michigan State back
at the
then.
time. Okay.
I was gonna play football. If I didn't have a great sophomore season, I was gonna play football that next year. But what happened was I was Big Ten Player of the Year. I was an All-American, and it just took off from
I
there.
did the exact same thing at UCLA after my sophomore year. my sophomore year. I went out there, Bob Toledo, Cade McDowell, that team. I went out there and did spring ball, ran routes for the first time in my life. It was dope. And then they started talking all this, change your dorms, not captain, won't start on the basketball. I'm just like, God damn, just because I want to play a little football. So, but that was one thing too. I mean, to this day, I'm just like, what if I would have just gave it for a year and saw what it would have happened? So
Yeah.
it would have been dope. Draymond told us a great story about being recruited by Izzo, just a straight shooter. What was your recruitment process like with Michigan State, or who were some of the other schools you were considering going to?
Oh man, back then I was my top schools was like Syracuse, Cincinnati. You had Huggins. He recruited dogs. You know what I mean? He went after all the dogs back then. Georgia Tech, they was pumping out point guards. You know, you look at the history of Georgia Tech point guards they had. You go back from Mark Price to K.A., Travis Best, then Steph came, and I would have been like right behind him. Who else was it? Michigan, Louisville, Florida State was another big one, and that was mainly football. Yeah, back then they had a run. They was on national TV every week. Yeah, every week, and so I was looking at them. But being recruited by Izzo, what separated him, man, he was in Flint every day. When I say every day, man, he recruited me hard. Because back then they ain't had nothing, you know. So Draymond recruiting was a little different. You know, he could be a straight shooter with him. With me, he was damn near begging, to be honest, you know, because people don't realize, like, I took a chance on Michigan State. Michigan State wasn't the prominent program that it is now. It wasn't. They ain't had, like, no top players there. Michigan had 6 or 7 McDonald's All-American on the roster. Michigan State didn't. Like, Coach Izzo didn't make the tournament before I got there. He was in his second year when I committed. So Michigan State wasn't what it was.
Well, what was it like building that team out, though, with Charlie and Mo? And this is back when you went to college for, you know, at least 3 years, sometimes 4.
Yeah.
So what was it like kind of just going along that path? Because I say all the time, like, that was, UCLA was some of the best, funnest times of my life, bro.
Flintstones.
Flintstones, no doubt about it. I would never change it for the world. You know, Antonio Smith, people forget about him. He was the first one to go. Big Tom, we played together at Michigan State. He went. And then Mo Pete went. I came, and then Charlie came. And the reason I love them, my brothers. You know what I'm saying? And it was special on how we did it because we got it from the mud.
Yeah,
like we wasn't know that Michigan State wasn't shit. You know what I mean? And we came in there and grinded. Coach started with Coach Izzo. He was a grinder too, but we just came in and grinded. You know what I mean? That's what it was every day. When I got there, the first thing I said, I got to change the mentality. You know what I mean? I could just tell people was used to losing. And I wasn't with that. You know what I mean? Like, even like the open gym games, they'll play and you lose and whatnot. Didn't nobody care. So I'm like, let's start keeping track. Let's start keeping tracks of wins and losses. You know what I mean? And so that started making winning important. You know, and then just me saying I beat you every day. It got real competitive. You know what I mean? And we started changing it slowly but surely. And then it clicked. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we got something special here. And I told Coach Izzo, start going to recruit some dogs. You know what I mean? And even when we, like, end the schedule. Like, I had a big part of that. People don't know that tough schedule they have. Me and Coach Izzo talked about that years. I went to him and said, start lining them up. Let's play. Like, let's scratch. Let's scratch. Because, you know, when you play some of them big schools, some of them other cats deer in the headlight. They're nervous. So I'm like, go line them up first, get them going. And now when we play them in the tournament, we going to be ready to roll. You know, cats ain't in awe. Like when we played Vince Carter and my sophomore year, cats there, they want the actual autograph before the game. You know what I mean? They wasn't used to none of that. Antoine Jameson and them, all that crew they had.
A whole NBA team.
Yeah. So they was like almost fanboying, but after we started lining them, you know, them tough games up early in the season, that changed everything.
I heard some interesting stories about how your recruiting process and how you committed somewhere and then you decommitted when the coach left and then some shit in Michigan and then you low-key got into it with Izzo. And tell me what that ended up, because you ended up getting your jersey retired just not too long ago, December 3rd of last year. Tell me about the recruiting process, and then we'll finally get to what the honor it was to see your jersey hung in the rafters at Michigan State.
So the recruiting process for me was different. A lot like the NBA for me, honestly, where, you know, I'm coming up in Saginaw, and we had a guy who was 6'10" named Josh Southern. And we had a guy named Larry Wright Larry's about 6'3", wing, could shoot the fuck out of it, was athletic. And so that was my sophomore year. And like you'd have all the coaches in the country coming in to see those guys. Josh ended up going to Boston College. Larry went to St. John's. And but you had Tubby Smith, Tom Izzo, like all the coaches in the country coming through the R-Open gyms. And I'm just young. I'm 9th going to 10th grade. I'm out there rocking. And like my high school coach would tell me like, yo, these coaches are coming to see Josh and Larry. And Izzo even told me this before, but they'll leave talking about you. But at the time, I'm still 6'5", I'm undersized, playing the 4. And so I would kind of just get I started getting offers from mid-majors and people, you see the write-ups and stuff like, oh, he's a mid-major player at best and all of this. Then my junior year, I lost some weight, I got more athletic, and I really started rocking. My junior year ended up being my best year of high school because my senior year, my ankle was fucked up. I was fat as hell. And so I always wanted to go to Michigan State since I was a kid. My aunt went there. She was the #1 player in the country in like 89. That time she went there, and I used to go up as a little kid, and I was scared of Sparty. But I always used to tell my mama, like, I'm going to go to Michigan State. I was the little badass kid, scared of Sparty, scared of Chuck E. Cheese. I was scared of everything. And, I used to always tell them, though, I'm going to go to Michigan State. You know what I'm saying? And then when I got to high school, Coach Izzo kind of offered me, but didn't. I committed thinking I'm committed, but they weren't really honoring it. So it's like, I felt like they was kind of teetering that line and like keeping me at bay, but not going too far with me. And so I went down to Kentucky my junior year, and they were playing Florida. And this is when Joakim Noah and them was there. Like that bitch was rocking.
Winning championships,
College Game Day was there.
They won back-to-back, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so College Game Day was there. We walk in Rupp Arena, and like I'm standing next to my assistant coach, my head coach of high school, and like we're literally this close to each other and got to scream in each other ear to ear. I'm like, yo, this shit live. So, we go on, we watch the game that night. Florida ended up winning. Then we stay over. We meet with Tubby earlier that day, and they offered me. I'm like, yo, this is where I want to be. So I committed. My mom didn't even know.
Shit.
She had no idea. She had never met Tubby or nothing. So I get back home. We drive back home that Sunday evening. I get home. My mom was always on the blogs, just like she on fucking Twitter now. And and so when I get home, like maybe Wednesday, Thursday, it started hitting the blogs like Draymond Green committed to Kentucky. Now, mind you, I still didn't tell my mom. So
Are you thinking about this though? Like, damn, I need to tell her I need this, or you're trying to hide it?
I'm trying to hide it. Like, she never gonna find out until it's time for me to go. So I get home like that Thursday.
Little did you know.
Yeah. And she's standing there like waiting on me like, you did what? Like, and I'm like, huh? She showed me the computer like, you committed to Kentucky? And she fucking went crazy. Like, how dare you do that? You never fucking talked to me about it, this, that, and the other. Like, Lou, who's my high school coach, they don't fucking run you. I'm your fucking mom, all this stuff. And I'm just like, whoa. So for me, it's like the happiest time of my life. You feel me? Like, I'm committed to Kentucky, but she's fucking grilling me. So like a week and a half later, she drive down and go to a game by herself with my father. They met down there, went to the game, and she came back and she was in tears. And she was like, yo, I'm not happy that you did that without me, but I see like why you committed it. It's fucking amazing down there, and I'm happy for you. And so time went on, you know what I'm saying? And then we get to March, and Tubby called me. Now we in the state playoffs. We end up winning the championship, but Tubby called me and he said, hey, I wanted to call you and let you know that I'm gonna be leaving Kentucky tomorrow, and I'm gonna go coach at Minnesota. But I wanted to call you first and let you know that, and not find out on blogs. And so I'm like, wow, that's great. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you letting me know stand-up guy Tubby is. And, you know, I'm gonna reopen my recruitment, but I'll definitely look at Minnesota, definitely be at the top of that list. And so I reopened my recruitment, and the first call I get that next morning, 7 a.m, is Coach Izzo. Hey, I'm like, what's up? He like, how in the fuck could you, like, this is me and his relationship forever. Like, how in the fuck could you commit to Kentucky? It's fucking bullshit, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yo, like, you didn't fucking offer me. So now I start back going at him like, you ain't fucking offer me. You full of shit. Y'all act like I was fucking coming there and I committed to you and you fucking pulled the scholarship. Like, fuck that. And he's like, who the fuck said that? Well, you didn't have a fucking offer, and now I'm telling you, no, you got a fucking offer. So we're having a screaming match. He's offering me a scholarship. But it's a full-out screaming match. Like,
Only you.
And so, you know, I ended up reopening recruitment, and it eventually comes down to Michigan State, and Indiana. And this is like the summer after that March. And I was, like, not many people know this, I was going to go to Michigan. And my mom wanted me to go to Michigan because of, you know, the education and all of that. I'm really trying to get to the league, so I ain't really tripping about the education. But I was going to go to Michigan. It felt good. And Beeline had just got there. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to Michigan. So they called me and they begged me to come down to open gym on this. Now, this is Thursday. I'm committing on the following Thursday. They begged me to come down to open gym.
You was just going to commit.
I had been before. It's Michigan. It's an hour away. You know what I'm saying? So I've been there a bunch of times. And they begged me to come one last time on that Monday before. So it's Thursday evening. They're begging me to come. I go that Monday. I'm committing that following Thursday. But I don't tell them I'm committing there. They just know my press conference is Thursday. And so I go down and I play in the open gym with them. I'm busting their ass. I'm talking shit, busting their ass. And like nobody talking back. Like at that time, Manny Fresh was there, Petey was there. Petey ain't a big talker, you know what I'm saying? Petey from Detroit. Manny not a big talker. They real niggas, but they ain't big talkers. And then like the rest, like Kelvin Grady was cool, but like there was a lot of squares on the team. And so I'm busting their ass and talking shit. And like nobody's saying nothing back. But I'll go to Michigan State and I'm talking shit and like Travis Walton trying to fight me and like everybody trying to fight. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody talking shit. We about to fight in this open gym. That's more me than fucking talking and everybody just looking at me. And Michigan State just felt more at home for me. But had Michigan left my ass at home and not fucking called me down there that Monday, I would have went to Michigan.
You guys did, you know, accomplish so much in such a short amount of time, you know, with all the accolades, big games, losses, like you said, the timeout. What is the one thing you take? Is it that moment right there? Is that the one when you say, when you look back, Chris Webber, Michigan, the Fab Five, what's the one thing that you hang your hat on, stands out to you, that is just, that sums up that moment?
Damn, man. Okay. Well, you got good at this, boy.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yeah. Stack, I can't.
I know.
I don't think I could pick one.
Yeah. That was a lot.
I don't think I could pick one.
You putting a lot. You putting
It's a loaded question.
culture.
Yeah, it's a lot. Music.
You putting personal situation. You putting music. You putting a whole culture just on y'all backs at that time. You know what I mean? Like that was a lot.
And it was, to me, like I said, it was a 2-year window to be real with you. You know what I mean? Because he was 2 and done. So to have a lifelong effect on culture as a whole when it pertains to basketball, you know what I mean? To have one of the greatest young teams in the history of the game, unfortunately fell short 2 years in a row. But like I said, you guys did so much for the game and for culture. That's why I was wondering, is there any one thing that sticks out, or is just that whole moment is what it is?
I think it's the whole moment, man, because it's so many things you do now. Like, players will look at Rodman with 2 tattoos and be like, he ain't got no tattoos. But they don't realize at that day, it was like having a tattoo on your face.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was the small things. Like, at that time, man, I felt like the world was changing. Like, even with little things like In Living Color was on TV.
Early 90s,
You know what I'm saying?
it
Little
was different.
things like that. So I definitely want us to take the credit, and we did it, but it was the energy of everybody. At that time, black people was coming up. You wasn't taking it no more. We saw all these other expressions, all these other things. Like, I remember we won a game and we jumped on the scores table and did hip hop array and had the whole crowd doing it, right? I'm just doing it because I love hip hop and I want to feel like a rapper.
Right.
I wanna know how y'all do it. And I remember the criticism that came after. Right. You know what I mean? Like when I really think about it, man, dog, I was 18 getting death threats, dog. You know what I mean? I'm talking about handfuls.
For having fun though. For being yourself.
You ain't letting these 5 black guys, what these niggas up here doing. Like I'm talking about like, it was crazy, you know, to the point where I'm worried and now I got my boys from there coming sitting by my parents again. It's, you know what I mean? Now,
but it's a different time though, Web 2, not to cut you off, because it's common now because social media, any coward has a voice, but back then they had to like really somehow get that shit. This is the early 90s, so it had to be like a handwritten letter or phone calls.
Take time.
Or, you know what I mean? Like it had to really mean something. There was more hate behind it.
Yeah, and it make you too, you know, at that time, now these are all good things because you can't have courage without fear. Right. So I'm not gonna act like nobody wasn't scared of these times, but I really have to thank our parents because your question, Stack, what got it was we were built for it. All right, how the hell I'm gonna cry about this? My father came from Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Like it was built for it. You know what I mean? My mother, she like when I went to Duke, she like, yeah, you like that? You like architecture, right, son? You like that architecture? I'm like, yeah, Mom. She's like, a black man designed all of it. He don't get no credit for it. You know what I mean? Like we were ready for it. You know what I mean? That's why it doesn't surprise me. J on TV now, it doesn't surprise me other things. So. You know, I can't take one moment, I just take all of us.
Yeah, it did a lot for us, man, because growing up, we watched y'all more than we watched the NBA because we felt like we were y'all. Like, these are 5 guys that come from the bottom.
That's the best compliment.
And they supporting each other. And another thing, we talk about Big 3. You can never duplicate the Fab 5. No. We talking about Big 3 right now. They talking about Big 3 teams. Why ain't nobody talking about the Fab 5? Because you can't duplicate that. Y'all was meant to be the cornerstone and the culture at that time, bro. You know what I mean? We appreciate it because it did a lot for us.
I appreciate it. The fact you said that you saw yourself in us, I promise you. That's why I used to be like, at the game, I used to have tears in my eyes. Our mom was watching the game or, you know, even commentating. Like some of the reason and some of the ways I commentate is on purpose because I know what they said about us. We cut our hair, dog. It's like, my father always, you know, my father, people think my father's Jawan there. My father looked like Muhammad Ali, Jawan, Will Smith, like all that. He had the same army haircut. And we gonna make you cut your hair, pretty boy, you know. We go to the Final Four, he gotta cut his hair bald. All of us cut our hair. And I remember the game, you know, my mother, she just says, you know, wow, it's messed up. You know, they said y'all look like thugs. But she wanted me to hear that. And we was like, oh, you want to see what this is on the court? Well, let's really show our ass today. So we were built for it, and we had a lot of people, so many people support us, man, and give us that energy, because it was a lot to carry. Maybe not, you really don't remember, but I remember the love, though.
Especially for your age, though. That's a lot to have on your shoulders.
I got the pictures. My whole team, 94, 95, 96, state championship. Whole team, ball head. Because y'all did it. Big shorts, all that, bro.
Hell yeah. So, obviously, there's been talks, and since I feel like you're my big brother, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you. The 30 for 30 doc came out, you weren't involved in it. Where did the Fab 5 situation gone wrong, and is it righted today in 2021?
Yeah, so I don't think the Fab 5 situation ever went wrong.
Okay.
You know, like I said, I mean, I talked to
cats. That was a great time, right?
Everybody on the outside looking in got it wrong.
Yeah, I talked to cats too much. You know, they probably, if this was live, they'd be trying to text now and fuck up the interview. But I would say that the deterioration of me and J-Ro's relationship could probably have an effect on everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so I've always tried to be careful, but you're my brother and this, we're just gonna do it. I've tried to be careful of how to talk about my relationship because you gotta understand, I'm the oldest of 5, so my mother taught me a couple things. If I'm fighting my brother in the street and a stranger try to break us up, beat their ass and get back to fighting.
Beat the
like,
shit out of them.
Like, how the hell you getting enough? You know what I mean? We love each other, we fight. So that's one thing. And then just, it's not fair to say my side without someone there saying their side, and I feel like the whole time it has been a negative coming at me. Like, I felt like, damn, out of all people that hate me, out of all the white people, out of all this, out of all that that's been trying to get me for years, you?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
That shit hurt me to my core, dog. I'm holding in tears right now, right? But I'm not perfect, I'm not saying that. So this ain't no sides or nothing. Right. This just, I'm on my brother's show telling you what happened. So with that, and I'm a big brother, so I know how to get out the way. Matter of fact, I get out the way too much. So I just want people at the end of the day that are brothers to remember they don't love us. That's all. That's all. I know they don't love me. And you can be a good man knowing they don't love you.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. My mother used to have a saying, you know, who are they to be equal to? Whatever that means. A basketball player for 40 years, just a businessman, who is he to be equal to? You know, so, I think that me being like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, things said you called time out on purpose. Things been said like, you lied in court, like.
That would hurt any real one with knowing that you righteous, with knowing that you don't do nothing to especially to your brother in that form. We, like you said, we not perfect, but in that form to initially hurt you as a brother, that should hurt, bro.
And it's this song, Stars. This is a dope song. It's an old song in the 70s. I think Enos, Ines, I don't know her name, but
Janis Joplin?
Janis Ian. It's not Joplin. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm probably chopping this girl name up, but she says, how do you make amends without defending? Like, if I say to you, you know, Stack, man, you ain't never come back and come to the point you address it. At some point, you're gonna have to be like, hey, dog, you know what happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because I've been working on forgiveness, dog, because I want God to forgive me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
all
when
that
it talks
matters.
about forgive 7 times, like it just clicked with me. It ain't forgive that many times. That might be how many times you gotta forgive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I could be late again today, like, you have to forgive me again. You have to forgive me again, you know? And I want God's forgiveness. I want forgiveness from my brothers. I want,
Yes,
you know?
sir.
And so, but what I've learned is I can forgive you without fucking with you.
Mm-hmm.
I love you from a distance.
Yeah.
And I would tell you this, we brothers, and I know you know, again, we brothers. So, you know, but I've never said nothing about it. And I'm just like, you got the biggest media company in the world, yo. Biggest doc ever. I hope you own the story.
Right.
I hope you own that, cause but see, me being laid back, trying to be cool and not say nothing, that's God also saying like, okay, you better quit running from confrontation and tell your story, because you got a son coming up. You gonna let him think that's what it is? That's why I got the book and the doc.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna inspire some motherfucking kids, because I'm gonna really show you what it's like. Like, I'm not embarrassed of what my father came from, yo.
Right.
What part did you play in the 5-5 swag? Like, I know everybody had their own input. The baggy shorts, the shoes, what part you played?
It's hard for me to, like, say it without people thinking, like, I'm trying to make it about me.
But you was the fashionable one, though.
But I was the
To this
one,
day, look at it.
I was the one that cared. I cared more. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, Jawan was like, dog, I'm trying to ball. Jawan's a professional. Jawan was always 10 years older than us.
Yeah.
But the same age.
But the same age. Never had not a fresh cut, always had a big goatee, always had a crease in his pants. Like, we all kept our originality. And so many times people talk about us all wearing bald heads. He ain't cut his hair bald.
He didn't.
No.
Yeah.
He was like, I love y'all, I ain't cutting my hair bald. I'm ride or die, but I ain't cutting my hair bald.
Right.
And so, like, I started wanting to wear the shorts because Doug Smith, Missouri, Steve Smith, Syracuse, Anderson Hunt, UNLV, Steve Smith, Michigan State. They used to all come home in the summer and bring me shorts.
Right.
So I used to have those satin shorts down to my knees without the
Game
holes.
shorts, yeah.
You know, they get heavy when you start sweating in them, but they was so cold. So, like, by the time we got to college, I'm like, y'all got a Nike contract. I know y'all can get us some longer shorts. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
Bobby Bland, I remember his name, our equipment guy, like, we want some longer shorts. And then the other thing, y'all know, Nike rep came in, welcome to the school, everything's great. Man, he put out some power forward shoes, man. Backup power forward shoes.
Back up.
Yeah, like, dog, we not wearing them.
Barclays.
Where the Bo Jackson?
Yeah, the
Where the
Hirachis.
Deions? No, we ain't wearing those.
Yeah.
High tops up to my calf. I'm not wearing them. And so that's when the Hirachis came. They didn't even want us to wear them because they felt like it wasn't a basketball shoe because your ankles were out.
Right.
And so we wore them. They was like, you got to get your ankles taped before every practice, before every game, for a lawsuit. Like, nah, okay, cool. And then we signed a little waiver so we could wear those shoes. And that's where, like, the whole fashion thing with the shoes came from. The ball heads, it was more like just solidarity. One for all for one, whatever. The socks, Ray Jackson.
Really?
Yes, indeed. We were about to play in Texas. I forgot one of them Texas schools. And Ray's homeboy came to the hotel. Ray was like, I've been traveling, bring me some socks. And he brought Ray a gray pair with blue Nike. And I was in the room playing Madden. And Ray came in the room and he pulled out the socks. I'm like, dog, where you get them from? He's like, you just got them for the mall. And then we all looked like, did they have some black ones? Right? Like, So we went to the mall. Now just think about this. They didn't have 5 pairs of black socks at an entire mall. The first game, I wore dress socks on top of my white socks.
Yeah.
True story. I had on dress socks. We went into the little stall, we put on our unis, covered up the socks, We ain't gonna snap off our pants until right before the tip-off. So they won't tell us no. You know how that works. We do it prior, gotta get it from the PR, gotta get it from the coach.
Somebody gonna shut it down.
They gonna shut it down. Exactly. So we gonna make sure they can't shut it down.
Yeah.
So that's how we did it.
That's dope. Hell yeah.
Oh, Rice. That's who he was playing. He was playing against Rice.
What's your relationship with Coach Fisher now?
I love him. He should be in the Hall of Fame. 3 Final Fours, a national championship. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Did great with San Diego State, brought their program back to life. Brian Dutcher, who now coaching, was the lead recruiter. Jawan signed with him first. Now their head coach. He was giving out tickets on campus. Now they got a real program. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He's got as many championships as Jim Boeheim. And my guy at Michigan State, who I love. Izzo. I mean, he got as many championships as them. So I feel like he deserved it.
What's your relationship with Webb? We touched on it in Atlanta when we had him. Recently just inducted to the Hall of Fame. Saw that shout out. But what's your relationship with Webb?
I love Webb. And I'm almost sure, especially since Jawan just re-signed, that I'll see him in Ann Arbor. I'm back living in the D. And I see he just did
The
some
cannabis
incredible
stuff out there.
donation to cannabis. And Al killing them in Detroit too. Shout out to Viola. I just love how strip clubs and weed used to be taboo. Even though everybody else was doing it, now we starting doing it. It's great to see us getting profit off of it. And so I believe we'll be able to break bread this year or whatever at a game. I'm glad I got a chance to be there when he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. I'm glad he got a chance to be on the show right after I lost my mom. And so we goody. I have no problems, no ill will with my brother. Of course, we need to probably sit down and talk about some dots some I's and cross some T's or whatever. But, you know, I'm taking the bullet for C. Webb. That's my brother.
I love to hear that. Obviously, you know, being big fans of both y'all, and he was kind of my big brother coming up through the league and just being big fans. So obviously at this point, tomorrow's never promised. So to be able to see that bridge being rebuilt, or not even that it was broken, but just being able to, like you said, cross it together, I think that's dope, man. So we definitely commend you for that. McDonald's All-American, state champion, scored 43 points in the championship game. Those are your Al Bundy days. Recruited, you ended up choosing Duke. What was it about Duke that spoke right to you?
What, my Al Bundy days?
You know, when he reminisces about his Polk High days. I used to do this in high school and do that in high school, but you really had the accolades.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I was a Duke fan since I was like 8, since I first started playing basketball. And my first year of basketball was when they had won their second national championship against I guess it was Michigan that year. Yeah, because in 91 they beat Kansas. So they beat Michigan in 92. And I probably watched that game like 20 times. Somebody had taped it on VHS at our house. And then it ended up getting taped over by The Sound of Music. I was fucking pissed. I was so pissed. I had that game memorized for like 2 years.
That's dope.
And so it was like, by the time I got to high school, man, like I was getting recruited by a lot of teams, you know, like UVA. And I was from Virginia, so UVA was on me hard. And Texas, Stanford, Billy Donovan was at Florida at the time. And I was really interested in going there. But it was always a situation where if Coach K and Duke had made me an offer, like I was going to go there. It was the hardest part for me was saying no to UVA because I did feel some sense of loyalty. My family had lived in Charlottesville for a few years before we moved to Roanoke. And, you know, I had some friends that were going to go to UVA. My best friend in high school was going to go play baseball and football there. So that was the hardest part, was just saying no to them. But going to Duke was the dream come true. You know, I didn't really bat an eye. It was like, you have a chance to come. Here's your offer. And then like 3 days later, I called Coach K and I said, all right, I'm coming.
That's dope. I mean, with the rich history at Duke, with all the All-Americans and NBA players they turned out, you know, 2-time ACC Player of the Year, all-time Duke leading scorer. What was your experience like there? And tell us about Coach K and what it was like playing with him, and what did you learn from him?
I feel like I had 2 chapters of my Duke career, and it was, you know, my freshman and sophomore year and my junior and senior year. And my first chapter was really hard. This was the chapter that made Matt Barnes think I was an asshole, and most of America thought I was an asshole. You know, you're 18 years old as a freshman, and at that point I played in a lot of big games, but it's never in front of fans. And you go on your first road game, and it's at Clemson. You're like 12 games into your freshman year, and the entire student section is yelling profanities at you. I had in college, my first 2 years, I had this like bad acne and shoulder acne, and so you see kids like wearing these mock Duke number 4 jerseys, and they've painted these red dots all over their shoulders, and there's signs about your family, and you're like, holy shit, what did I just sign up for? And you know, I'm not somebody that's gonna like back down from that. So then I sort of started creating this persona on the court, and there was a lot of head bobbing, a lot of trash talking. It was a lot like how Jack played in the NBA. Only I was just a fucking cocky white kid, you know what I mean? So everybody hated me. And, you know, by the end of my sophomore year, I was so distraught about it. And I had gone to a really bad place and had misbehaved. I would say I misbehaved my sophomore year. I tried to quit. I told my sisters I wanted to quit. Like, this was December of my sophomore year at Duke. I was like, this is not for me. This is not what I signed up for. And I had basically a come to Jesus moment with Coach K in late May of my sophomore year. I guess it was after my sophomore year, somewhere between sophomore and junior year. And he sat me down in the office and he just said, look, man, he's like, you've been good. Like you were all ACC last year and you were 3rd-team All-American. We made the Final Four. He's like, you've been good, but what you're doing isn't good enough. And Coach Collins, who's now at Northwestern, Chris Collins, Doug Collins' son, he said, I'll never forget, he said, the sad thing is, we'll never know how good you can be. And I was like, fuck, that hurts. That hurts. And that summer, I had them make me a schedule to the hour. I still have the fucking spreadsheet in a notebook in my house. They had me to the hour, 8 a.m. wake up, 8:30 breakfast, 9 a.m. check-in with Coach Collins, 10 a.m. class. And it was down the line, lifting, conditioning, basketball, court work, study hall, lights out, 10 p.m. And I had to carry a jug of water around the entire summer. I had to have like a gallon jug of water with me at all times.
Was that to replace the beer?
Yes, it was to replace the beer, 100%. If you guys want to know stories, I feel like this is the type of podcast where I tell stories.
Yes.
about my sophomore year. But so
Yes.
as I'm walking around campus with a jug of water. So I did that all summer. They didn't let me play USA basketball. They're like, we want you here. We want you in our environment. And man, it was the best thing that ever happened for me. I lost like 23 pounds. I was over 215 at that time in May of my sophomore year. I started my junior year at like 192. I was in unbelievable shape. I won every preseason conditioning thing our team had that year. And I got National Player of the Year my junior year and ACC Player of the Year. We were undermanned squad. We ended up getting a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. We won the ACC championship, lost in the Sweet 16. Like it was absolutely, that year was the turning point of my life. And it was all that jug of fucking water. That's all it was.
Hey, what was the NC and Duke rivalry like?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna mix two stories here. I'm gonna mix two topics. I know Matt wants to hear some stories. So the NCAA, the Duke UNC rivalry was crazy. There was nothing else like it. And growing up a Duke fan, you have such an appreciation for that rivalry. And my first time playing in it was a Duke game at home against UNC my freshman year, and the crowd was just different. The buzz, the energy was just different. And looking back, it feels like a Game 7 of a playoff game, and that's what a Duke UNC game feels like. My sophomore year, we're playing. We're winning. We're going to win the ACC regular season. We're the #1 team in the country. Us and UConn were basically #1 or #2 the whole season. So we're going to win the ACC, and it's the night before the Duke UNC game. And it's game days there. So they got like the whole setup out in Shesheville. They got all the tents out there. Oh, it's popping. So I'm in my dorm room on West Campus, and I have a few friends over. We have a few beers or whatever. And so we get the idea that we should go down to Shesheville because that's where the party is tonight. This was a Friday night. It was a Saturday night game. So we go down there, and like I ended up playing beer pong with UNC fans. My roommates running through Shesheville, screaming at people, waking them up, making them take shots of Captain Morgan's.
Oh my goodness!
This is pre-cell phones with cameras. This is pre-social media. Like I would have got, like looking back, like I would have got kicked off the team. I would have been a wrap. It would have been a wrap.
Right. How did you play in that game, though? How did you play in that game that night? Next night?
Not great in the first half. Not great in the first half. But I had a good second half. I ended up with 15 points. And made the game-winning defensive play, believe it or not.
Oh, nice.
I stripped Rashad McCants and then dove on a loose ball, got fouled, and hit the game-clinching free throws.
What was your recruiting process like?
It was good. It was. For me, it was Carolina, Georgetown. Those were the two schools that I loved.
Dad wanted you to go UNC.
Yeah.
Mama wanted you to go to Georgetown.
Man, that's right. I did. So we had season tickets. So we would go to Georgetown games. And I don't know if you remember Michael Jackson. Was point guard. So he went to my high school. He used to work for my mother in the summers. My mom introduced Pat Ewing to his wife. So I was entrenched with Georgetown. Like I was all in. Like we all were. I think at that time, black team. I thought it was HBCU back then. I didn't realize as like 11, I didn't realize it was a private school. But so Georgetown, Carolina, Michigan, Virginia, and Duke. And I made my first visit, and it was to Duke. And Coach K just kind of blew me away. And I knew right then that I wanted to be there. And the genius of Coach K, and I know, love, hate Duke and all that, and obviously now he had great success at the end and coached the Olympic team, but his ability to get people to buy in. He wasn't a great X and O coach, but like if he looked you in the eye, like you believed in him. And that was his genius, getting everybody to kind of like buy in to him and buy into one another. And so Duke really wasn't my fate, but it just felt right, and made that decision, and fortunately we made history.
You win titles in '91 and '92.
Right.
The famous Christian Laettner shot. How big was that moment?
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that was 30 years ago, and people still People still talk about it. But Christian was a great college player. I mean, Alonzo, Shaq. I mean, everybody he faced, he dominated Shaq twice. And and we had a good team. I mean, Bobby was a great college point guard. I was a good player. He had three guys in the college basketball Hall of Fame. And so so those moments were incredible. I don't think we realized while we were doing it the significance of what was happening.
Right,
we were just trying to win. I was 19. I was a kid. And but that pass to Laettner, that shot, Laettner didn't miss a shot the whole game. Laettner was cocky. Laettner was like, he talked trash. He also he was a great teammate as well. I remember we had a game, I talk about in the book, we had a game, we went to Buffalo to play Canisius. And it was a game for him, going back to his hometown. And at halftime, he had like 1 or 2 shots. And Coach K's like, Christian, what's going on? Like, this game's for you. You act like you don't want to play. And he's like, I want my hometown to see how good my teammates are. And so, you coming back home, college player of the year, you're going to try to show out. But he was trying to show us out. And so he you don't hear about that side of Christian. You just hear the crazy, and there was a lot of craziness. But he was a great competitor. He did his work. He did his thing.
With all the noise and knowing how everybody feel about Duke, is the brotherhood tight enough to block out the noise and stay strong?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, man, because I don't think we were aware of what people's perceptions were back then of Duke. And I looked at Duke no different than I looked at Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, Georgetown. These are PWIs that have good basketball teams. And so I get it with us beating Vegas and the Fab Five and obviously Jalen's documentary and how they felt towards us. But I wasn't aware of that. Like, I honestly, like, we got along with Webb was my guy. I talked some stories about Webber in there when we were in high school. He used to come visit me in Virginia. We didn't have social media. We didn't read the newspaper back then. So we were in Durham. We'd go to Durham. We'd go to cookouts, barbecues, barbershop. Everybody showed love. So I don't think I was aware that there was this
stigma.
Yeah, like this. Now, I should have known better because I didn't like the Celtics for the very reason people didn't like us.
Right.
I was a Laker fan, and I identified with the Lakers. But I think because we had really good white players and had a Ferry, Laettner, Hurley, maybe I fit this image, my parents and, people thought what they thought about me. I think that might have contributed to the narrative. But at the time, I was totally oblivious to that narrative. And not until years later, I even thought the hate towards Duke later on was because Duke had success. Like the Yankees or the Cowboys. I didn't really realize it.
You could have used a better example, but I feel you.
Yeah, or the 49ers,
There you go.
And so, but I get it now. I understand, and it was an interesting time, and and so I get but yeah, the brotherhood's strong. Coach K moved on. Shire's recruited well. We hope to stay relevant, man. That's the main thing.
In 91, Final Four, y'all started 34-0 before losing to Duke.
Yeah.
Grant Hill, Bobby Hurley, Christian Laettner. Talk about that.
Shout out to Duke. No, I played in it. And the only thing I can say about it, I say this all the time, I lost the game. Now, I say this to Greg, and he go bullshit it. Ice and everybody go bullshit. No, we did this, we did that. But being the number one player in college that year, everyone here, all the smoke, I lost the game. I didn't play hard. I was out there ladder-gagging, on 70, 80%, thinking we playing somebody we just beat by 30 the year before. But it was close the whole game, and it wasn't with me. We up 4, we up 5, then they're tied up. We go on that little run again. But I was lollygagging. I was thinking about the league. Yeah, man. I said this before. I'm not snitching on them. I said this before. I always say I lost that game. And at the end, when anybody ever saw the end of that game? I know you two did, right? Should I shot the ball? Absolutely. I should have shot the ball. I choked.
UNLV is going to send 5 men to the boards. Larry Johnson brings the ball up. Looks like he wants to go all the way with it. He's outside now, stopping his dribble. Laettner on him. Hunt will have to do something. Force it. 3 off the back. Tap it long. Hurley's got it. Duke has done it. Duke has upset UNLV.
I never heard that.
I should have shot the ball. I choked. Say that all the time.
Talk a little bit about, you touched on it earlier, but just Tark versus the world, the mentality of the team, what kind of dude Tark was, how he captivated people just like you guys did as a team, and just how good, obviously his wife and everything, how good was he to you guys?
Again, you're talking to someone who never met his father, so every coach was almost like, that's who telling me what to do day in and day out, right? So as a man, so he was that, and me and Coach was real close, and I know people saying, yeah, he was a number 1 player on the team, but it don't matter who you are. When you see the way he treated people and treated you, that's where the respect comes in, because he was bigger than we was now. Now, we were some bad motherfuckers, and everybody loved the team, but Coach Tark was an icon. You got to remember, too, everyone, now you got, what, the Raiders there, you got the girls team there, you got that badass hockey team there, right? Forget about it. When we was at UNLV, there was no professional team nowhere. It was just that college right there and that basketball team.
How important is it, too, because we do have some high school kids and some college kids in there just falling in love with the game. Obviously, you're in UNLV, and like you said, the world was right there, but you really loved the game and talked about being in the gym all the time. How important was that aspect for you?
It was very important. I mean, you know how it is when you love the game. These youngsters know how it is. When you love it, you don't never want to be away from it. And I saw an opportunity to get my moms, no matter where we was in. You know, we all got that story. You know how that is. I was that dude. So, and anybody, again, when you put up them 2 dudes that was a while ago, there was 2 squares. It was 2 squares. If it wasn't a female or Jim, or now you only want to get something to eat, man, that's all we did.
That's it.
So if I had a coach that was like this, that saw the vision and was gonna help me with it, man, I took it.
Gino, what are these LA streets looking like these days, man? I ain't been in them in a minute.
Man, it's rough out there, man. The pool of women out there now, woo, you have to have it together, brother.
Are you out there performing though?
I am now.
Are you?
Yes.
What's the secret? No more popsicle sticks and duct tape?
Yo, no. We're way more advanced than that.
Okay, where you at with it?
They got this Row Sparks thing that I'm doing.
What's that?
It's a lozenge you drop under your tongue.
Okay.
And you get going. On average, 15 minutes, man, and you ready to go after that, man.
Got your manhood right.
Absolutely. 12 o'clock, you like a rocket.
What's in them?
You're getting a combination of both.
Okay.
Other things that are out there right now. Absolutely.
I only get, one opportunity to make a first impression back here. They haven't seen me for a minute.
Yes, and you don't want to flatline with these girls nowadays, boy, because they'll talk about you. They have you on Instagram.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They have you on Instagram.
I've been on Instagram enough. I don't need to be on Instagram about this.
Yeah, you need to calm down too with that, by the way.
Now, is it consistent or is it just on call, you'll be ready?
I believe it's very consistent. Well, for me personally, it's consistent. Okay. You know what I mean? And I'm not ashamed to say it.
Okay. I mean, we're all getting a little bit older.
I am old.
You definitely are
yes.
old. Well, I'm glad that you don't have to use the old antics you've been using in these LA streets for a while, and now you have something brand new. So you're almost like a new man out here.
Absolutely. The Cougars love me out there. Man.
Do they?
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe it.
Man.
I believe it. So where can I go and get this?
Man, I got mine from road.co/smoke, man, and they had it right at my front doorstep, man.
If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off Sparks for your first order on a recurring plan. Connect with your provider at road.co/smoke to find out if prescriptions of Rose Sparks is right for you. That's road.co/smoke for $15 off your first order.
You ever had one of those moments when you want to elevate your night? Maybe it's a dinner with friends or a celebration that calls for something extra. That's where Grand Marnier comes in. You probably heard of it, but have you tried the signature drink? The Grand Margarita. It's the twist of a classic margarita. It has the smooth richness of Grand Marnier's cognac, and combined with orange liqueur, a bit of citrus, and just the right amount of sweetness. With a taste like that, it's perfect for any occasion. Whether you're chilling at the crib or out with friends, a Grand Marg remixes a regular cocktail into something extraordinary. Don't just settle for a good cocktail when you can have something grand. It's about making your next drink one to remember. So when you're making your next margarita, remix it and make it grand with Grand Marnier. Grand Marnier liqueur, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof. 2025 Campari America, New York, New York.
Drink with style, drink responsibly.
So when do you feel like you were on the map then? It was in college at Arizona when you put yourself on the map?
Even when I went to Arizona, I got I'm on a team with 4,
You was at a hell of a team. What was your team?
We had Jason Gardner. I was at the 2. We had Richard Jefferson at the 3, Michael Wright at the 4, Lauren Woods at the 5.
Rest in peace.
Lauren Woods.
Shit, my freshman year, we had Lou Recker, who came in from Iowa. And then we had a Lithuania kid who holds a record, for like dunking 12, 6, or 13 feet. So we had so much talent. So I was getting red shirts. We had a JUCO player, co-runner for the year, Lamont Frazier. So we had some boys coming in. So I was the young buck, they're going to red shirt me and I can learn. And my assholism kicked in.
Assholism.
Yeah, my assholism kicked in. So I was like, man, I'm about to go for the position, bro. Because coach, when coach be like, all right, so listen, the 4 and the 5 is set. 1, 2, 3, fight for it. Like, really? Oh shit! I started training. Fuck that school shit.
That's what you were supposed to go there, right? That's what you was on too, right?
What? Butler?
Arizona.
Arizona, yeah.
Ready?
I wish I could have got the national championship. I ended up losing by not getting in. They wanted that year. My supposed to be my freshman year.
Okay.
Mike Bibby freshman year.
Yep.
National championship, I missed it.
Damn.
Not taking the test. Serious. Showing up late, hungover.
Yeah, so I didn't. I just started training, watching the habits of like Ruben Douglas, and then like people said like Ruben Douglas. We played against each other in high school. I was faster. He was stronger, bigger. But I was more athletic, and he just didn't know my skill. Like I improved since high school. So when coach threw that ball up, I was a whole nother demon. So when I stole the position, he was like, "I'm transferring."
That's simple.
Yep. And then Lou Recker said, "Shit, I'm transferring." Oh shit, I don't have no competition.
Now it's your team.
Yeah, I have no competition now. Like I don't have to fight with anybody. So now I have no worries. Now I can just play a free game. And then once that free game came in, I'm leading the team in scoring now.
Yep.
And I was like, shit, I'm 4 years faster than I thought I was gonna be.
Who was recruiting you besides Arizona?
Northridge.
The Rye.
I was Northridge. I was being recruited by Northridge, and the guy from Northridge got a job at Kansas State. So Kansas State came in, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna give you 1,000 minutes as a freshman." I'm like, "Shit, whatever. Just let me do what I do." And then DePaul came in. So,
they had a squad then, right? That was before they had Still Q and Bobby Simmons in them?
Yeah, so I was going to go be the point guard there.
They had Michael McPherson too.
Yep. And then Pat Kennedy, the coach, him and my dad had ties from, Florida, so they was, working their little deal.
Paul McPherson.
Paul McPherson, yeah.
So I was going to go there. So right before I was going to go, Pat Kennedy's mother died. So they had to cancel the trip. And then Lute Olson came in and said, he came into the house and said, "Listen, I never seen you play until I got on the plane. You have the kind of style I like. If you want to come, it's whoever, decides first between you, Kevin Gaines, and Jimmy Hayward." And I was like, okay. So I went to go take a trip, and they had like some little scrimmage there, Michael Dickerson and them. And I was balling. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm coming here. I'm coming here."
You didn't get the pancakes from Miss Olsen?
I don't know.
She make them for
the banana
everybody.
pancakes.
Yes. I was about to say, come on, don't tell me. Don't tell me you didn't experience that, man. Yes, sir. That's the best thing about the trip.
Yeah, I got the banana pancakes.
Yes, indeed.
What kind of bond did you build with Luke?
What's so funny is I hope I'm a coach like him. Because you got to remember, I'm immature. Like I was Dennis the Menace. Like I'm Dennis the Menace. Like
there was no way I should have been. First of all, I should have been kicked out of school or bench. And he never punished me on that basketball court. Like he never let what I was doing outside affect my playing time. You know, the only way that, you know, like if I was gonna get benched is because something I did in practice. Like if I didn't go to class, he's like, all right, you don't wanna go to class? 5 miles. 5 miles, 6 a.m. Under 30 minutes. Like, all right. You know what I mean? You know, so, you know, that's how, you know, but I looked at it as like, I'm just getting in shape.
30.
But he never punished me for what I was doing. Like he just, you know, and I gotta respect that because for the most part, any other coach, yes, I would have been deep sitting on the bench and he's like, you're gonna have to, you know, if you don't wanna go to class, you're gonna have to deal with that soon. It ain't got nothing to do with me. You're gonna have to deal with that soon. You got an 0.2, you're gonna have to deal with that soon.
Nigga said an 0.2.
No, that was my crazy.
This dude is crazy. So 2001, you guys go to the NCAA finals and lose a heartbreaker to Duke. Talk to us about that game. Because I've heard you and RJ go back and forth on this game.
Yeah, man, he let Dunleavy, man, kick his ass up and down the court. Man, it's Dunleavy, bro.
I believe it. I believe it.
Like, what's so funny is Dunleavy, like, I had a cold AAU roommate group. It was me, Dunleavy, and Luke Ridnour. That was my AAU group.
And Luke Ridnour a game.
Yeah, that's what I said. That was my little
game.
like when we go to like the pump camps or something. That was my little that was my trio. So when you grow up with Dunleavy's your teammate, and then you play him in the what's the name, and then you come on RJ. It's, you know, first of all, he's been playing bad this whole tournament.
He should have got happy to see Dunleavy on the other side.
Yeah, you the super athlete.
I get excited.
How
Easy
you gonna
night.
let the man hit 5 threes in the game?
Night off.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. So I blame that on him. I mean, I was 4 for 17, but I'm not gonna blame myself. I'm not gonna blame myself.
Absolutely
you know what I mean?
not.
You know, it's me against Duke at this point. You know what I mean? It's me against Duke. Y'all just happy to be here. You know?
Shit.
What's so funny? But that's how we talk
to each other. That's how you would talk to him?
Yeah. Like, come on, man. Hey, help me out. It was like, yo, bro, you're 4 for 12 right now. I'm going against 5 players.
Yeah, 1 on 5.
What y'all expect? It's me against them.
Who'd they have on the Duke? Who's on the Duke team?
Bunch of sorry players. It's Duke.
Yeah.
Bunch of sorry ass players. bunch of dookies, you know, a bunch of snobs.
Yeah.
They had young Boozer. They had Jay Will, Duhan, Shane Battier.
Oh boy.
Dunleavy.
A whole bunch of proper talking motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's what I said. Bunch of squares.
Whole bunch of proper talking motherfuckers.
Outside of that game, how good was Jason Williams before he got in that motorcycle accident to you?
See,
that's what I want to ask you. I want to ask you.
I'm biased because our first introduction was the tournament, the finals. You know what I mean? So the finals was, so from there, it was basically fuck him.
Right.
And then it became a double fuck him when he's coming into the draft. So, you know, I get the starting spot during my rookie season. So I'm coming into my sophomore year as the starter. Well, rumor hits that, you know, if they get the number 2 pick in the draft, they're going after Jason Williams. So I'm sitting here like, wait, hold on, wait.
This is Golden State?
Yeah, Golden State. So I'm sitting there, you know, with Otis Smith, who was the GM. He was the player development coach.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, wait a minute. If they draft him, he still got to beat me, right? And it was like, he's going to be the number 2 pick in the draft. You think they're going to start a second rounder over the number 2 pick? I said, yeah. He going to have to beat, it's my position. He has to beat me. He said, he don't have to do nothing. I said, oh, that's how y'all want to play. So I'm lifting, working on my yeah, I can't wait draft. I hope y'all draft. I hope we get the number 2 pick. And we end up getting the number 3 pick. Whew, bless my soul.
Yeah.
So we end up getting Dunleavy. But when we played the Bulls,
over.
Nah, gave him quick double-double. He asked the team, hey, is he mad at me? Yes.
Every
I
night.
don't like you.
Every night I'm
Yeah,
mad.
bro, I don't like you. But yeah, he was, he wasn't explosive as D Rose was, but it was that type of shiftiness. You know what I mean? Quick crossover, and when he hit the hole, he hit the hole.
Dunk on your ass too.
And that was the sneaky part of him because he didn't look like he had bounce, but he did have bounce.
He had a nice jumper too. I really liked him. I was sad that obviously through that accident we didn't get a chance to see him. But that's funny. Your little personal.
Yeah, it was a personal. But what's so funny is that he had no idea that I envied him because of that, because we was fighting for that number 2 spot.
College freshman, you get a chance to start and win a national championship. We were talking about before we got started. I mean, obviously the league is the ultimate goal and the prize, but I had a blast in college.
Me too.
Talk to us about where'd you go to college at? The DR?
No, Backyard University.
The streets are hard not.
Yeah.
As a freshman starting, getting a chance to win a national championship at Villanova. Talk to us about that experience.
It was that year was fun. And I say it was fun because it was ups and downs. Like as a freshman, I was an All-American, and so like I'm thinking like, all right, I'm gonna go, like I'm gonna do my thing, and like I know obviously when I got to Villanova, it was team oriented. Those dudes we had a bunch of older dudes, but I knew I had a chance to come in and compete to start and everything. So Coach Wright didn't give me anything. I knew I was gonna have to compete for everything. But Coach Wright's another one who like everything was mental. Like your mental approach is everything. And so like he would come into practice some days and try and like break you and see where you were. Like that was his goal, to see where we were as a team. And with me, I could not let that happen in my 3 years. I was like, this man will never be able to do that. But man, we fought, man. We fought like hell. We had like little things going on throughout the season, but the one thing I realized that our practices were way harder than our games. Were way harder. So when we got to game time, we're thinking, all right, these dudes aren't playing as hard as us. Like they may be more talented, but they're not going to outdog us. So that's how. I mean, we obviously had different terminology and stuff like that, but that was basically what we did. And so Coach Wright had that mentality for us, and it was fun because we just knew that other dudes weren't going to just do the little things that we were going to do. So if we made shots, we were winning. But if things weren't going well for us, we'd be, all right, it's time to toughen up. And he implemented that into our minds, and obviously, we found a way.
Is it around the squad? Like I know he's married, but he's a ladies' man. Like the ladies love him. Like you know who love Coach Wright? Eleanor.
Oh, does she?
Bro, she called me and asked me, do I know him?
Really?
I'm like, nah, I don't know. She's like, I'm just looking at a picture of him. Like, but she's not the first one. I've had other older ladies from when I'm working somewhere talk about him. So like he must be a ladies' man or something.
GQJ.
GQJ.
See, everyone sees. Oh, you're not gonna like this. Everyone sees that like Jay Wright when he walks into practice sometimes, and he's like his hair is a little messed up, and he got that scowl on his face. His first name is Gerald.
Gerald
Wright. So we was like, all right. Everyone else sees Jay Wright, but we see Gerald Wright.
Yeah.
You don't want to see Gerald Wright.
Yeah.
Gerald's on some shit.
Yeah.
How did you learn how to play off 2 feet? Was that at Villanova? That come earlier? Very skilled off 2 feet.
I learned it with obviously working with my dad, but I think at Villanova it was like
polished it
because everyone did it. It was something we did every single day. Like kid you not, that's how we started practice. That's how we ended practice. Like that we started just doing our footwork stuff. And so Coach Wright was like, I want you guys to have this in your repertoire, knowing that you guys can play the other way, but you will always have this style of basketball. And then it works.
Hell yeah.
It works. And then when we won my freshman year, Coach said this line with us. He's like, now that I know this shit works, and then it's going to be hell for you guys next year.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we really got to
lock in.
But yeah, he really implemented that to us because we knew that sometimes people are going to be more athletic than we are, but like it's all about how smart we are, how in our footwork and all that
mindset.
stuff. So he
hammered that home
every day.
How many pros was on that team? 4?
2016?
Yeah.
Me, Mikhail, Ryan Archidiakono, Josh Hart, our big man Daniel Cheff, who played in the league for a little bit, who redshirted that year It's Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah, DiVincenzo, yeah.
Eric Pascal redshirt that year because he transferred. So 6, 7.
Mm-hmm. That's dope.
Deep team.
You guys get a chance to win another one, 2018. So 2-time champ, also National Player of the Year. You knew it was time to go after that?
Ching ching.
Yeah, I had no choice. Also, best part about it, my mom was like this. I graduated that year too. So
did you?
I finished in 3.
3 years?
Finished in 3.
Damn,
Finished
that's
in 3.
dope.
But yeah, that was the plan. Like we thought about it my sophomore year, but that's mom.
That's work, man. I
That's
love
mom.
that.
I can't give dad. Dad said dad wanted me to do it, but mom was like, nah.
On you. Make sure you did it.
Yeah. That was
I wonder how hard is that to graduate in 3 years?
Yeah, it took me 4 and I still didn't.
I'm 45 and I ain't even thought about it.
Yeah. That he crush your mind.
UVA, University of Virginia. You left there, you was 3-time All-American, finished as Virginia's all-time leading scorer and all-time leading assists, but both of those have been broken since then. How did it feel going to UVA, and was it any other options besides UVA?
Yeah, I mean, I was recruited. I was actually the number 1 high school player in the country. I mean, I don't know how you do that, but they chose me. I never actually, I went on maybe 1 AAU circuit, like 1. I actually participated in the very first one. So I was the high school player of the year. So I mean, every school came after me, like hundreds of them. I chose to go to Virginia for 2 reasons. And one of them, obviously, I didn't want to go to a school that had already won a national championship because I wanted to be a part of that legacy. And then the other thing was, I mean, it's the strangest thing that attracts us, but I didn't want to go to a school that had like traditional dorms. Like, like you go, you got a roommate and then you got to take your bucket down the hall and go shower and that, like that would, I mean, I lived in a project, so I wanted college to be a step up.
Right.
I mean, I had to share a room with my sister, and that's as far as I wanted to go. Share a room with someone, and then Virginia had these dorms where there were 4 rooms. You share the room with the roommate, and then you had 2 showers, and you had two stalls, and then you had like a common area. So it was almost like an apartment.
Right.
And then the other school that I was very serious about was Penn State. And they had the old school dorms, and I really couldn't do it. So the non-negotiable was the dorms. So I went to Virginia.
That's a crazy. I've heard a lot of reasons why people pick schools. I've never heard something like that, but that's good. I feel you because I was at UCLA. They had us set up nice there, and I couldn't imagine like some schools they had like. But in summer school, one time I had the situation where you had a roommate and you had to walk down the hall to the shop. I'm like, hell, I left summer school.
Couldn't do it.
Nuh-uh.
You end up winning a national championship in 2017 with South Carolina. Do you feel like that made up for you not winning one while you was playing, from you being so good and not bringing one back to UVA?
Yeah, it actually did, because it took almost like 27 years to win one, and I had to get into coaching to do that. But it was so special. It was so special that when we won, I made sure that every like former player of mine, because I coached at Temple and I'm coaching at South Carolina. When we won, every player prior to 2017, I got them a miniature national championship trophy.
Let's go.
I got all of my Virginia teammates miniature national championship trophies. All of the people that coached with me at Temple in South Carolina, I got the miniature national championship trophies, because this was a dream far beyond 2017. Right. And I had teammates and I had former players that believed in that dream, that we didn't get it done. So I didn't want them to miss out on that opportunity of feeling that. And then on the back of it, I put their name and I just said, because of you. Simply.
That's dope. That's really
That's
dope.
dope.
You don't hear stuff like that too often. That's what's up.
I knew she was a real one. I told you that. I knew it. Hey, so tell me this. What was the feeling when you went back for your jersey retirement?
I don't even remember that. I really don't remember that. Like I mean, really, honestly, I know that stuff. I mean, it's nice, but I mean, it's nice, but I wanted Hall of Fame. Ask me about Hall of Fame. Like, ask me about Hall of that is that, and I'm not trying to take any. I mean, I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Right.
But there are just things that are like near and dear. Like I'm in a Hall of Fame with the greatest of the greats.
Yeah, but that's what you played for. You played to be one of the best.
Yeah. Well, talk about it. What's it like? What's it like being in the Hall of Fame?
It's cool. Like I don't always go back to the ceremonies, but when I do go, like I feel proud. Like I feel like I belong. And I started an autograph collection, so I can get all the greats autographs when I go there. So it's pretty cool. Like I got a pretty extensive collection of Hall of Famers.
Your biggest basketball influence growing up, whether it be male or female?
Ooh, biggest basketball influence. See, I really didn't like basketball growing up.
Really?
I didn't like to sweat.
What?
I hate.
Were you like a girly girl?
What? Am I? Yes. Yes.
You still, because she still has to play basketball. I can tell.
I hated basketball with a passion, like everything with it. I hated the color of the basketball. I hated everything. I was like, this sport is disgusting. But I love the guys that played it. You know, like I was just like, oh, wait, they're kind of cute. But playing it, absolutely not. But my father obviously played it, and he was like, you better do something. Like, he was kind of like, I didn't birth you for you to just sit here. So I was like, all right, let me try it. So after when I started getting involved, I was a huge Blake Griffin fan. I just don't know what it was.
Yeah,
I was a big Blake Griffin fan. I guess the fancy part of it. Obviously Kobe, LeBron, like all of them. And then I met Dawn Staley. And obviously Candace was my growing up, and Lisa Leslie, even though I didn't get a chance to see Lisa play. But then I met Dawn, and she influenced my whole career. And it was like on something that I was like, no, this woman has really changed my life. And that right there was all the inspiration, all the influence I need to be me. Dope. And yeah, she killed it.
That's what's up.
Dawn is the GOAT.
Yeah.
She is the GOAT. Was there ever a doubt in your mind that you were not going to South Carolina?
Yes.
What other school you thinking about pulling up to?
I really wanted to go to the University of Chapel Hill.
Oh.
Hold up. How are you going to answer
that? Because the boys were cute.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't even for the hoop game. It
wasn't even because of the hoop.
It was for the guys.
All right, my bad.
Hello. What? Oh, y'all thought I was talking about basketball? Absolutely not.
Right?
What? Yeah, I was about to sign that dotted line on my official visit because I was like, oh yeah.
They here.
See me here. What? That
So who
skin
is
on my skin was like,
not to
cute.
say that that's who you was crushing on, but who was what kind of team was there at that time?
I have no idea.
Okay, so you just.
But I just knew when I got to that campus.
It was popping.
That's all I saw. And I was like, yeah, this me. This right up my alley. But yeah, that was the only time. But I remember when I had to call the coaches to say I wasn't coming. My mom was like, well, if you don't want to go to South Carolina, you're going to have to call Dawn Staley, a black woman, yourself, and tell her that you're not wanting to be coached by her. And I was like, whoa, when you put it like that, this basketball thing might be something good. So, yeah, South Carolina was my strong second, and I'm so glad that I
chose it. Best choice.
That's dope.
Yeah.
You were the #1 recruit in the nation. Dawn Staley moved you to the bench after your first game. You was pissed off? Or did you deserve it?
I deserved it.
She knew what she was doing, too.
Yeah, I stunk it up my first time. Like, my first collegiate game, it was so bad. Like, it was horrific. So I was like, okay, maybe the bench is for me. Let me try this, give it a try. And then, yeah, the rest is history at that point.
Do you think that she sent you to the bench to
wake you up
mentally?
She really didn't start getting to me mentally until, like, sophomore, junior year.
Okay,
She started playing
all right,
mental games.
all
But,
right.
like, I think she knew like that was just going to be the best fit for me. Like
Right
I
now.
needed time to see the game. Like I couldn't just she couldn't throw me out there because game was too quick.
It would've
growth was
killed
too
your
strong.
confidence probably.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah.
never probably been the same player if she would have just let me be out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she just kind of pulled me because she was like, nah, you just need to see it and then you can kill him.
And
So
look at your ass now.
right, right. So
Look
thank
at you now.
What was it like when you first met her?
Ooh, it was just like Coach Staley keeps it real. So it was just like honesty and like she just really felt like my second mother then, and now she still feels like my second mom now. So like she was in gyms when I wouldn't even play because I was terrible at basketball, but she was there. Like the loyalty she showed, I was like, nah, like you got something else. Like
She's
I
fucking with
want to
you.
grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to grow, and that you're the best.
That's dope.
Yeah.
But basketball, we know she's a big part of your career and your success, but what did she teach you about life?
Be a pro and be disciplined in everything that you do. Like, don't take anything lightly. Don't take anything off. Like, always be a pro. The way you carry yourself, because you never know who's looking, but just being in spaces that you feel safe, but never lose yourself. I think that was the biggest thing with her. She let me be me. Like, it'll be days where I would come into her office crying because my boyfriend didn't text me back, and she's like, girl, sit down. Like, take it all off. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So she just allowed me to be human. And I think you see that also in her when she's in the community, when she's talking and she's tweeting with fans. Like, you never lose sight of just getting into the celebrity vibe, but always staying humble and staying within yourself. Something she always taught us.
We spoke about it a little bit, but let's touch on it on its own.
How many people get this?
27 years old.
How many people get this?
And you have your own statue. Just take us through that day.
You go by and clean it off ever?
Yeah. Put some
Make
armor
sure
on
there's no bird shit on it.
You got some dust on my motherfucking forehead.
It was a crazy experience because they told me at graduation, but I thought it was a joke. Like, I was on my phone during graduation, all these cameras pulled up, and I was like, what they got going on? And so that's when the president of the school was like, yeah, we want to give Asia a statue. So I thought it was a joke. I'm starting to laugh, like, whatever. Like, y'all not, because people always say, oh, they need a statue. So I'm chilling, and then that's when it really hit me. The lady that sculpted me, she did Michael Jordan's as well. And so I had to go to Chicago.
For the United Center?
Yeah.
All right now.
Yeah. And so they came and they measured, like, right.
It's a hell of a name drop.
When she name dropped, when she came to my face and like, not my face, she came to Chicago and she literally scaled my whole face, like my teeth, like I had like all these things around my face. She was like, yeah, I had to do this for MJ. And I was like, girl, you can't just say that like it's nothing.
Now she letting you know something.
Right, like, nah, you're in good hands. And then I went and I saw it. I was like, oh my God, my legs are nice. Like, I like this. This is cute. So yeah, then finally, I watch a lot of scary movies, so I was like, I hope nobody trying to take me out when I'm up here trying to say my speech. I got nervous there, but no, when I saw it, it was truly amazing. And like, you know, like you said, like I'm young, and to have something like that, to be immortalized is crazy.
When you hear the name Dean Smith, what comes to mind?
Conscious brother. He was a conscious man.
Yeah.
You know, he really used his platform to enroll you into what was possible in your life. He developed good citizens. And you see that not with Michael and Sam and I and Vince. You see it with all his lettermen who have done well. He took us to play a game with North Carolina State Prison. We went in there, and this was in '80, and you know I wasn't comfortable. You know what I mean?
If I could be honest.
They were looking at us in different ways than basketball, but he's that kind of guy. You know, it didn't matter if you were Michael Jordan or Michael the Tower Boy. So he used his platform very well to kind of prep you for life and keep you humble. Yeah.
Did he make you feel not only wanted but like family in your recruitment process?
He's very honest.
Yeah.
So, you know, and a lot of people don't believe this when I tell them, but he was strictly by the book.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ask MJ, Sam, anybody. There was no, money or anything involved. But he'd come in and tell your parents. He got to know your parents really well. He promised you 3 things. He's like, I promise you, your son to graduate if he stays 4 years. I promise you that You know, he'll go to class, and if he's a freshman, we require you to go to church your first semester. And my mom was sitting over there, and I know when she heard that, she was like, "Damn, that's where he's going." Mm-hmm. But he was really honest, and I had always loved him since he brought Charlie Scott, was the first Black ACC player to come to the ACC. And Coach Smith took a lot of heat. They tried to fire him. They hung him in effigy after a game, but he used to take stands like that. Mm-hmm. Took Charlie Scott to church with him, took him to restaurants in '67 where blacks weren't still allowed. Mm-hmm. So I knew about him early. I got to go to basketball camp where I fell in love with guys like Phil Ford, Walter Davis, guys like that, you know. So, you know, Mitch Kupchak was there. So I was kind of tied in, locked in from like 15 years old.
Mm. Is it true that he left every UNC player's money for a steak dinner when he passed?
$200.
Mm.
Yeah, every letterman that played for him. And I think he was like sticking it to the NCAA.
Yeah. I finally can take care of my players.
Yeah, finally, I'm going to do something. You're not going to be able to do anything about it. But, and you know, he used to write personal notes. He'd have his secretary type them up. And then at the bottom, it would always be P.S. And he would write a few lines. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he had special touches like that. And a memory like you wouldn't believe, which was sad to see him have dementia at the end of his life. Yeah. But yeah, he had a memory that was like amazing.
Everybody talk about MJ's championship shot, 1983 against Georgetown, the championship, but you had 28, 13 for 17 from the field. Mm-hmm. Nobody don't talk about that. It was on your shoulders. But what's your take on that?
Well,
you did your job.
You know, if you watch the Michael Jordan documentary, when he was in Chicago, not the Hair movie, I had a statement. You know, when Michael came to Carolina, I tell everybody I was better than Michael.
Yeah.
You know, for about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
For about 3 weeks, man. I knew he had it. When you're an athlete, and you guys are both tough, I watched you your whole career. You know, when you're tough, and you're not going to back down from anybody, and you're going to take them on. But then when somebody comes along they're fucking tougher than you. They're like, he was an assassin, and he bullied me. He sought out the best in everything. If you were the best backgammon player in the dorm, he wanted to know. If you were the best card player, he wanted to find out. And he took everything as if he was losing a game 7. Losing just wasn't. I didn't care what it was. He'd break a table if he lost a backgammon. So he sought me out, and you know, we practiced 2 hours, 2.5 hours. You guys know how them college practices are. You ready to get out of there? Mm-hmm. And I'd be walking off the court, and he'd push, "Where you going, young fella?" That's what he called me.
So you were a junior when he was a freshman,
a junior
right?
His freshman year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you know, he wanted to know. And throughout that year, even though I was MVP, there were some games against Virginia in the ACC tournament where Michael kept us in the game. He had some big shots against, you know, Ralph Sampson and those guys. And then against Georgetown, we only had really 5 players against Patrick Ewing and my homeboy Sleepy Floyd. They were tough. But Michael hit some big shots and kept us in, you know. And then at the end of the game, Coach Smith wanted me to be like a decoy. We had lost to Indiana the year before, Isaiah Thomas and Bobby Knight. Mm-hmm. So getting back was special, and I wanted to win or lose
Zeke
on my shoulder.
He been punching on Mike. Zeke, I've always beat Mike. That's what Zeke always say.
Yeah. Zeke been opinionated later. Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
It's over, man. You had a good career. It was awesome. But yeah, man, because they expected me to take the shot. We would run a high-low against their zone. Patrick Ewing was a beast. And I wanted to win or lose because Michael was a freshman. And I didn't know if had it in his veins, but I was to flash in the middle. Coach Smith didn't call it up like that, but he knew it would work out that way if we ran our offense properly. So we ran a high-low. Sam went down low. I flashed in, and 3 guys collapsed. And Michael was wide open. Now, he didn't draw it up like that, but at the end of the timeout, you know, when you're walking back on the court, Michael was one of the last guys. And I heard Coach Smith kind of, if you get a clean look, knock it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and because he knew Michael had it in his veins. And that was the beginning. We called him Mike.
Yeah.
Mike Jordan.
Kenny say he ain't have no handle when he first got there. No handles.
No, well, Kenny had him after I left. Kenny's still mad at me because I recruited Kenny. He wanted to play with me, and I left after my junior year.
Yeah.
With he and Brad Daugherty. But yeah, he didn't have a lot of fundamentals when he came.
He was just raw.
I think he was a better baseball player coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've heard the story of him getting cut from his high school team once. So he had a lot to work on. He had raw talent, though. Raw talent. But when he got the fundamentals down after his freshman year, and he worked at it, because we had drill after drills after drills, and whatever his weakness was, he was willing to work on it. And so I can't remember him having, back then we ran 4 corners. There wasn't a 24-second shot clock his freshman year. So he was okay in that, but I don't remember him ever having the ball handling skills that a guard has to possess.
UNC summer runs.
Yeah.
How was that?
Lawrence Taylor played in some of those games.
Really? Word?
Yeah. Football players in Woolen Gym.
Lawrence Taylor was nice?
Yeah, well, Lawrence Taylor was a beast. You get the rebound, he just move out of the way. He was coming. He was coming. But yeah, the pickup games, because a lot of guys from Duke came over. That's 7 miles apart.
They was allowed?
Oh yeah. They come on and play. And Woolen Gym, but they were like iconic games. You know, you guys probably played in some of the games over at UCLA. You don't want to lose. So yeah, there was 2 courts. You always had to. But when LT came, he was a pretty good player. But yeah, he was a beast.
You end up choosing North Carolina. Who else was in the mix for colleges?
For college, I was Duke and at school from Durham. We don't say that name. And Virginia. Those are schools I visited. But I always wanted to play in the ACC at that time. That was when the conference was, to me, the ACC had the best conference. I wanted to play against the best. But I chose North Carolina because when I went to the practice and I saw Sam Perkins, Brad Daugherty, Michael Jordan, I looked at it and I said, I don't know if I could play here. I was a little nervous. I had never seen 7-footers like they had. They had 10 McDonald All-Americans on the team at one time. I was like, damn, I don't know if I could play here. I said, I know I could go to Duke and play. I could play at Virginia. And I said, I gotta go here because I can't be there thinking that they're better than me. And so I wound up going. At that time, which is now if you don't do it, I was only the 5th freshman to ever start at the university. But now if you don't start as a freshman, people they transfer.
Good enough, right?
But,
he said they'll transfer.
But that was unusual to start as a freshman, for me. So I chose North Carolina because of that reason. And they had everything. All the schools we got a good academic school, good social life. I was a good basketball night. They had everything when I went there. It was like a movie. You know how you see those college movies? And you see the fraternities and the kids walking through campus.
Bright sunny day.
It just felt like a movie. I was like, this isn't real. I'm coming from New York. It's there's no campus. St. John's doesn't have a campus. Really. So I was they were they all use, the city's your campus. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm not. I would have had to take the same bus that I took to high school to take to St. John's. I was like, nah, I can't do that. I'm not having a bus pass going to St. John's. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, your freshman year team, to name a few, Michael Jordan, Brad Daugherty, Sam Perkins, yourself. I mean, what were those practices like?
You know what the crazy part was?
Nah, that wasn't the question. Who was the best player out of the bunch?
I'm going to get that.
I want to hear that one first. I want to see
the best player.
Sam Perkins was the best player my freshman year. Like, because Sam was a 4-time All-American. That, that wouldn't happen today either. Like, first team. Sam was the best player. Michael was the most dynamic, but he didn't have a handle. He couldn't handle the rock, like, in college.
MJ?
No, he couldn't handle the rock. So, like, even at times, I'll be like, we play pickup, like, oh, I got Mike. You're like, because I knew I'm get up under you. Like, you can't handle the rock. And
what happened? And then?
And then he's the only guy that I know that his weaknesses that he had at the end of his career was his strengths. The only person I've ever, LeBron's not like that, KD, nobody. He's the only one where at the end of his handle was crazy and his jump shot was pure. I used to say, how do you miss a jump shot? You got a perfect form. But we talked about it, and I was like, this is how competitive, we talk about competitive with Mike. So I used to say, it's like, oh, you think you can guard me? It's like, yeah, because your handle's whack. I used to say, your handle's whack. I can guard you. And like, bum, bum, bum. So now, we doing that, we playing, he goes to the Olympics, comes back, goes to the league, comes back for the summer, because all the players, every North Carolina player came, but we all come back and play. So the gym is the doodles. Like any NBA team, we would have beat, in that gym, without question. And he's boom, 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 he's gone. I'm like, damn. The gang guy, he's like, my handle, been working on it. But I forgot I said that shit. Like, I really forgot I said it. And he's like, my handle, right? He's talking about my handle. But he was, like, the stories are true about his competitiveness. Like, we were playing pickup one day, so this is when you knew I made it too, because the juniors and seniors, even at y'all school, probably picked the team.
He didn't go to school, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Straight out of high school.
He went to Mexico.
Right. So they pick. Wait. At North Carolina, this is how we do it. So the pros go on one end, and the college players go on the other. And then you pick your team.
Yep.
But you could pick the pros, or you could cross over. So Michael or Sam, whoever, they were the senior leaders and junior leaders, they picked the team. And the first day, as a freshman, you're just sitting because they're not picking you. So you get on the court end. So about a week later, Michael's picking, and he's like, I got New York. They used to call me New York. Like, I got New York. I was like, oh shit, I got picked first. He's like, first, it's 20 pros in the gym.
Yeah, official.
I was like, oh, it's kidding. I was like, so my confidence was boosted. So now we playing, right? And we winning games. And so every time we win, you go get water, and I'm watching Mike, and he's standing in the middle of center court. I'm like, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, I want the motherfuckers to know that I'm never leaving the court. I'm gonna be the first to stand here and the last. I was like, all right, so we both gonna stand here. And I was like, this is what we doing. This is how we doing it.
This is what we doing.
Yeah, I mean, he was the first dude that I met that could back up his trash. Like every day. Every day.
Always a talker?
Always a talker, and always backed it up though. Like, and he really took more pride, especially then, his defense. He's like, Walter Davis, you're not scoring today. You're not scoring today, Walter Davis. Like, that's the type of energy he was on all the time. And when he got to the league, so we had dorms, and our dorm numbers don't change. So if you had dorm number 8, it's the same phone number next year. You're just a different person. So all of when he comes in town, this is before the Instagram, and you'd hear the phones go, bring, one, and somebody hang up, bring, and you just hear it going down. So it's him, and all he say is, school's in session, boom. School's in. So everybody come in the hallway and be like, Mike's here, right?
That's
like, yeah,
dope.
Mike. So he go and he call each room to let her know, come to the gym.
School's in session.
So the gym would be packed. We'd have 4,000 people watching our pickup games.
That's crazy.
4,000.
That's dope as hell.
It was unbelievable. That time basketball was different. There was no Charlotte Hornets.
Right.
So people
would,
and this is no social media, and people, the whole
somehow
campus would
find
just
out.
know.
Or just word of mouth.
Yeah.
Word of mouth, and it would be 4,000 people when he came in that gym. And
the good old way.
I can picture
I
that.
mean, obviously with his competitiveness and his desire to get better at a young age, did you see him possibly being a great?
I knew he would be great. I never thought he'd be the greatest. Because when I first saw him, and then when I saw him even in practice, like, you don't, like, I guess it's like you have a beautiful wife and you, like, take it for granted. Because she's there every day. You see her every moment. You know, you see every moment. You know, a beautiful person you're around. You see their bad side too. You see the days that they're in the mood. So for him, I saw those moments and I was like, but then when he left and he came back, I saw that the energy that he put into his game. Like, he never stopped working, man. Like, his stuff is not an accident. Like, it's not like, oh, he was gifted. No. He was the most fundamentally sound player that ever played the game. If you watch the videos, his left hand is in the correct passing lane. His footwork is impeccable. Offensively, you know, his jab step is the always ball move, feet stay still. Like, all of those things were all the time. And then he was the best athlete. Most guys who were that athletic didn't rely on
package,
that.
right.
You know, as great as even, you know, and this is not a knock, but as great as Clyde Drexler was, that was the difference between him and Mike to me. It's just the fundamentals of jab step, and that's, you know, the stuff that Dean Smith learned. But and then Mike gets a lot of credit for, like, his quotes, but it's just Dean Smith's quotes.
He's stealing them,
I'm gonna keep it real. It's stolen. It's all plagiarism.
He says all plagiarism.
It's 100%. It's just, he just adds the expletives. But it's everything that Coach Smith said to us, that's what Mike said. Every interview. You can pull it. It's every interview. It's plagiarism to the finest.
I mean, speaking of Coach Smith, what was it like, some of the stories and memories you have? Rest in peace, obviously one of the greatest to ever do it, Dean Smith.
He was, to me, it was like playing for Gandhi. Like, you know what I mean? It was surreal about his inner person, who he was. My favorite story is not even with me. It's with Makhtar Njai, who played at North Carolina. He was from Africa. Played at Michigan, transferred in.
Went to Oak Hill.
And went to Oak Hill, yeah. He went to Oak Hill. So Mac was, you know, having a tough time in practice. So Roy Williams was assistant coach at the time, and Bill Guthridge. And so they're getting on Mac, like, Mac, what's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. Coach Smith never cussed, ever. Excuse me, ever. Never cussed. So they're getting on him, and so they throw him out of practice, right? So Coach Smith, after practice, goes to him, says, Mac, is everything all right? Like, homesick? Like, and he's like, no, Coach, and he's not looking at him. He's like, Mac, look at me when I'm talking to you. He's like, no, Coach, I'm just not feeling. Mac, look at me as I talk to you. He said, Coach, in my culture, to look an adult in the eye is
sign of disrespect.
It's a sign of disrespect. So Coach Smith says, oh, okay. Walks out. So next day in practice, there's no Coach Guthridge, who threw him out of practice. Coach Guthridge's not there for a week. So Mac said he gets a call from his mom. She's like, Mac, there's this man here in Africa. Says he's your coach, assistant coach. I know it's Coach Smith. I don't know him well. He's been here for a week saying he's learning our culture. He sent Coach Guthridge to learn his culture so he could never make that mistake again. That's what Coach Smith is.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's dope.
That's deep.
2-year pit stop. You won a national championship in '81. Dropped 23 versus Sam Perkins and James Worthy over at North Carolina. What was your favorite on the court moments in college? Was it that championship?
Two favorites. The first favorite was February 14th in Iowa, Mike Whitson's return, because my freshman year he had back surgery. We were ranked number 1. Whitson goes down, Whitman goes down, Bushi goes down, and we faltering, right? Whitson comes back, and that's his first game, and it's in Iowa City. And this is my freshman year, and my whole time now, playing for Coach Knight, I'm waiting for this genius moment, right? I'm waiting for him to grab the clipboard, and draw up some stuff. But I ain't seen no clipboard in I ain't seen the clipboard since I got there, right? So we down 1 in Iowa. It was Woody's first game back, and we called timeout. And now I'm like, okay, this the moment.
Something gotta happen.
I know we getting ready to drop a play now, right? This was the play. He said, Woodson, can you make a shot? Woody said, yeah, I'll knock it down, coach. He said, all right, he called me Pee-wee. He said, okay, Pee-wee, I want you to move the ball around. Tolbert, I want you to set a screen for Woodson. Woodson, I want you to get open. Pee-wee, when he gets open, I want you to hit it. Woody knocked the shot down. I'm like, on the left side, the right side? Where's Woodson gonna be at? I'm scared. I'm like scared. I'm like walking out on the floor. I'm like, okay, how we gonna get the ball in, right?
He wants you to put everybody in place.
I'm like, hey man, just all I'm doing. So I pass it, then I run over there and get it. I got pass it. And so I'm waiting for Woody to come. Woody come off. Tolbert sets a down screen. Woodson comes off on the left side. I hit him. Boom, boom. And he banks it right off the glass. And to me, that was one of the most beautiful moments I have experienced because Woody recruited me. That was my senior. Mm-hmm. He had back surgery. He was coming back, And so I was like, okay. Second best moment was, beat North Carolina in that final game. So two things happened in that game in the first half. North Carolina got out to a good start. And I knew we didn't have the talent to play with them, right? Talent for talent, they were better. James Worthy, Sam Perkins, Al Wood, that's their back line. Worthy was a number 1 pick. I think Perkins was 5 or 6, and Al Wood was 10 or something. But North Carolina, they played that platoon system. So they got up and I was like, okay, we just got to hold on, fellas, because 5 minutes, they're going to take Worthy out. They're going to take Worthy and Perkins out. And when they took them out, that's when we was able to come back. But one of the biggest plays I thought in that game, clock's running down. We got the last shot of the half. And Whitman's in the right corner. And I'm standing there, I'm dribbling the ball, trying to, make sure everybody is set, doing what they're supposed to do, trying to stall time. And Whitman and I make eye contact. And, we run the clock down, kick it over to Whitman. He knocks down a shot in the first half. That gave us crazy momentum going in because I think we either went up 1 or was down 1. We come back out the start the second half, and then I take over. So, but I thought that shot was one of the biggest moments in the game.
How many backboards have you shattered?
Just one. I
Just
broke
one.
a lot of rims, but just shattered one board.
That was impressive.
At the right time.
Yeah, at the right time in the tournament.
At the right time, man.
Talk about that.
My man Jason Sasser, bro. Shout out to Jay Sass. His nephew Marcus is a hell of a player. Plays for the University of Houston. Marcus Sasser, that's his nephew. My man Jay Martin, our point guard from Inglewood. He hit Jay on
Oh, you
on
had
the
Jason
left line.
Martin as your PG?
Yeah, that was our PG, bro. I've been knowing Jay for over 30 years, man.
Shout out Jay Martin. That's the homie,
Jay went hit Sass in the post, and Vince was guarding me. Antoine was guarding Sass, and Sass threw up a right jump hook. Vince went to go double, and I had a straight line right to the rim, man. Just caught the offensive rebound. And then the rest is history,
motherfucker
bro.
down, too.
And that actually tied the game up. We was going back and forth, and I think that might have made it 16-16. They had my man, who I'm going to see later on tonight, they had Jeff McGinnis, they had Antoine Jameson, Vince Carter, Serge Wicker, Shamon Williams. That Carolina team was strong.
Nice. Yeah.
Calabria, Dante, you know what I mean? So they had a strong squad. And we had Tony Batty, myself, Saz, J. Mark, Corey Carr, Coy Smith, Janae Cool. We had a pretty tough squad too, but it was one of those things, man. We going back and forth. When that happened, shit, we had to stop the game for 45 minutes, go wash the ice, the glass out our bag. We had to take showers. And my man Corey came out and went on a three-point barrage. Corey came out and hit like 4 straight threes, man, just opened the game up. We ended up winning by 20, 92-73, and they drug tested me feverishly.
Gotta be on something, right?
Something ain't right. Everything came back clean, kids. I was just on steak, milk, and broccoli, you know?
Jack, I can tell you a funny story, man. After we won the national championship, and this is before the social media era that, nobody really knew or talked about, but we just won the national championship, right? So we're going to, so we're on campus, and Khaled comes up to me and is like, hey, Rip, let's go to Hartford, right, to get some gear because that's where all the hip-hop, you get all your hip-hop clothes and get fresh. He was like, yo, my man got a store there. Let's go down there and get some clothes. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we go to the store, get some gear, whatever, right? So we get back in the car. Now we on our way back to campus. So Khaled like, oh, man, you know what, man, Rip? Let's ride through the hood. You know what I'm saying? Get some love from the people, right? So I'm like, Kay, let's get back to campus. He's like, nah, let's just ride through real quick. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. So we riding through the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? Everybody in the neighborhood giving us love, whatever, high-fiving, whatever. So we stopped by this little project, you know what I'm saying, over there, right? And a couple homies, in the neighborhood, knew Kay. And they was like, yo, what's up, man? Congratulations. Just giving love, right? Shaking hands, dapping up, whatever, right? So we're in the car, and one dude comes over, and he says, hey, Kay, man, you know what I'm saying? And reaches in the car and acts like he giving him that, but then he pulls his hand back, right? And then the homie was like, hey, you know what? Just give it to him, man. Them dudes won a national championship, and I don't know what the hell it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, just give it to him, whatever, right? So then Kay was like, nah, I'm cool, whatever. And the other homie was like, nah, give it to him. Boom. Gave him a high five, you know what I'm saying? And it was 2 dime bags of weed, right? Kay takes it, right? Kay takes it, right? Puts it in his pocket. Boom, right? So now we're in the car, right? So we sped off. I mean, we going 30 miles an hour. As soon as we hit the corner, bro, the sirens go off, right? Police come out on foot, sprinting, run, stop them. They ran stop sign, and they've been speeding or whatever. I'm like, bro, we ain't been speeding. Like, what the hell going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Once I see police, I'm shook, right? So then Kay like, oh man, like damn, like, you know what I mean? I got this on me, like, you know what I mean? We college kids at this time, marijuana was a big thing back then, and like they'll take your ass to jail. So the cop come out, right? So he's put his one cop come, take me and put me in a cop car. They take him and put him in a cop car. I'm like, yo, what the hell's going on? So the cop car I'm in, the police is like, man, Rip, like, why are y'all here? And I'm like, bro, we just came here to get some clothes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just had a cruise around the neighborhood. He's like, bro, we've been having a sting operation on this project for the last 4 months. I'm like, word? So then I'm like, damn, he's like, y'all shouldn't be out here. So now I'm looking through the police, and I'm in the backseat, I'm looking through the police window. So they pulled Khaled out the car first, but they separate us. And I know what pocket he put the dime bags in. And I'm like, bro, like, please don't go in the pocket, right? First thing they did, so they had some mean-ass cameras, man. I don't know where the hell they got this camera at, but the first place they checked was inside his sweatsuit pocket. He go in the sweatsuit pocket, boom, pulls it out. I don't see what was being said because I just see a whole lot of hands because I'm in there. Yeah. They put him in the car, they pull me out. They was like, what the hell you got in your pocket? I'm like, bro, I ain't got nothing. They pat me down, whatever. They check the car, whatever. And then they take him right to the police station. So I'm like, yo, like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Because I'm acting dumb. I'm like, yo, what's going on? He's like, oh man, he had marijuana on him. He's going to jail. So I'm like, well, like, yo, like, what about me? They was like, oh, well, you off. Like, but he's going to jail. And I'm like, bro, like where we just won a national championship. Like, y'all can't let us off. Like, and he like, hell nah. Like, and the police, everybody in the neighborhood out, like, yo, let them kids go. Let them kids go. So, I'm an hour from campus, man. And I'm like, yo, all right, man, can you just give me the keys so I can drive back to the campus? They like, hell nah, but we can give you a ride to the police station. I said, you know what? I'll walk back to campus, man. And I walked about a mile when somebody came and picked up, this is before the cell phone era. Somebody gave me a ride back to campus. So that was just a crazy situation because Khalid was going to leave school his sophomore year. That was the same year that I left. You know what I'm saying? But he was going to leave that year, but he ended up coming back for his junior year.
Your senior year begins the journey of you winning hardware. Your senior year, you guys go undefeated. You win a state championship, and then you head on to UConn.
Mm-hmm.
Who were some of the other schools you possibly thought about joining?
Yeah, I visited Stanford, Vanderbilt, and then like Duke and Notre Dame were like the kind of like the fourth and fifth. I didn't even visit though. It was really UConn from the start. Like
that was it.
Yeah, the other ones kind of crept in, because like they wine and dine you, but it was UConn.
Mm-hmm. What was it? Obviously at the long line of great men and women there, what did it mean the first time you actually got to put that uniform on?
It was crazy because they still do really well in attendance, but when I was in school, it was like Gamble was 10,000. So, and we sold that out. And then we would play in the arena in Hartford. And that's like 16,000. Sold that out. And whether we were playing like our arch rival or we were playing like, I don't know, some D2 team in like a preseason game. Yeah, it didn't matter. So to me, that was like the fans. That was the crazy part. So you put the uniform on, you run out to all these people. That was wild. That was the wildest part.
Do you think your UConn team could beat some WNBA teams?
Yeah, because it's like 5 WNBA, like top 5 picks.
For real.
My senior year, we were loaded. Yeah, we were loaded.
Word.
So you had a little setback your freshman year, tearing your ACL. What was that like for the first time basketball being taken away due to injury?
Yeah, it was terrible. Although I also, talking about the bubble and needing a break, I figured out quickly, even my freshman year, like I love basketball, but like I can balance it, So it was tough that it was taken away because I didn't have a chance. I hadn't proven myself yet. Like I was, there was nothing to back it up. You get hurt now or like later in your career, people kind of know who you are, know what you can do. It's like, okay, she'll be fine. But this was like, I hadn't done anything. So that was probably the hardest part. But it's probably the thing that like shaped me now, like going through that, having to prove myself, kind of overcome something, and back in 1998, tearing your ACL was like a death wish. Now it's like, they'll be fine.
It's normal.
But back then,
back then it was scary.
Scary.
So did you get one of those big old scars like from your shin to the top of your... They have those scary Frankenstein. I remember because I had toe surgery and it was I thought it was a scope and there's like a scar on my toe like the size of my foot. I'm like, what the fuck was this? And that was in 1998, like surgery, medical, the medical side of it was much different back then.
Mm-hmm.
So you were able to establish, winning 2 championships there, playing with Diana and Swin Cash. What was it like being able to win with your friends?
That was the best part. We had it was a close group. Like my class is super tight. Group chat's still popping now. But then and Dee's class was 2 years younger. And we had 5 in my class. Well, ended up being 4 at the end, and they had 5. So it was like these 2, like in numbers, you know what I mean? These 2 groups and they kind of ride or die. But when we came together, we still had so much fun. So it's like, as like you guys can, it's like the memories aren't the winning. It's nice that you win, but it's like all the other stuff. So to do that, and really, you mentioned 2 people for Dee and Swin. It's like, I've literally gone through everything with them. Starting in college, Swin, actually, we played together in the WNBA. Me and Dee played, me, Dee, and Swin with the national team. Then me and Dee went to Russia. It's just like our careers are so intertwined, and it's, they're like sisters for sure. So it's always amazing doing and winning with your family.
That's what's up. Played for legendary coach Gina Auriemma, who once said you're the best point guard in the world. This is a two-part. How did that make you feel? And then what is some of the best advice he gave you during your time there?
He definitely didn't say that shit to my face.
Gino is such a G, man. I love Gino, man. He's a G, man.
I never met him. I just saw, I could just feel his energy from the TV. I've always fucked with him, even though I never met him.
He shoots it straight, that's for sure.
No, it's for him to say that. Like, I'm joking, but he gives you compliments to your face, but not when you're in college, not even shortly thereafter.
So to have him say that, to know who he's coached, who he's been around, it's obviously an amazing compliment. I think the thing he taught me that to this day I take with me
is it's like a classic line of his. It's basketball is not a game of how to, it's a game of when to. And that I think is like true for all players, but especially for me at the point guard spot, like I'm kind of, I'm not out there. I'm not going to dazzle you with my athleticism. I'm not going to rely on those things. So I have to be it really is about when I'm doing this stuff. Not how, right? Like everybody can shoot, dribble, pass, but it's like when, and being really like smart about it and calculated. And that's like my.
What was your recruiting process like coming out of high school?
We started to get on the map, so I really could have chose anywhere I wanted to go. I chose UConn my junior year, so I didn't even wait. I was like, what y'all want me? I want you too. Like, let's do this. But it actually wasn't even, in the beginning, I was more so leaning towards Maryland because that's where my sister lives. So I'm like, all right, I can go to UMD. They got a good program there. And then I went to my visit to UConn. This is kind of crazy. I had all the other visits lined up. I even put Hawaii on there because I just wanted,
Free trip. We know.
I wanted to, all right, so you already know. I went to UConn and signed with them right after cancel. All the other trips, those were terrible calls to make. Just letting everybody know. West Virginia threw a fit because I didn't take my trip to WVU. I knew, like when I went there, they didn't roll out the red carpet for me. Everybody else was like, yeah, you're going to come here. You're going to start 4 years. I'm like, how many people they telling this to, though? I like transparency. So Coach Auriemma was like, look, we already got a point guard. We know you're good. I don't know if you're going to start. If y'all know Coach Auriemma, he's the same way for recruiting. So I think the players that go there, I think it says a lot about the players because you got people.
Gotta earn it.
Yeah, you got people promising you the world. So people that go to UConn, Coach Auriemma just doesn't move like that. So that says something about the players, I think.
Yep. What was your college experience like? I mean, going to a legendary program, having a legendary coach, able to capture one title your senior year, but I'm sure the experience is something you'll never forget.
Something you'll never forget. I mean, I already went there knowing the point guards that were before me. So it's like, I think that's what pushed me.
Not to cut you off, who was there when you came in?
So when I came in, it was Keisha Soigné. So she was 1 year ahead of me. So it was almost wide open in a sense of that's kind of how I was making my, But when I say before me, I meant like a Sue Bird, Jennifer Rosati, just that group of caliber of point guards. So for me, like I said, I welcome that type of challenge. I'm like, dang, it's lit here. So you have to do something big to make an impact at a school like that. And UConn, while everyone knows that we are good at partying, we play good basketball too. But I think it's like, no, and I say that because a lot of times it's like Storrs, Connecticut. People are like, what do you do up there other than party? But I mean, I think that the players, we have a sisterhood. You see us now, like we're all still close. Like it's not like we're all still cool. Like we're all still close. We got a group chat. And I think that's just the ties that we built. Like we built a real sisterhood there. And I think that's the culture that they make you have because practices is so hard. Everything is so hard that you got to band together. Like we all got to be mad at coach together because we're not going to beat him otherwise. Like they make you figure it out together. So that's the thing I think I learned best at UConn, just that coach would do so many different things. We have practice guys. There would be like 8 practice guys against us, or 5, and we'd have to figure out a way to beat the trap, and we'd have to do different things. So he would always say, like, I don't really care what the circumstance is. Give me a solution. So I think that's kind of my mentality now moving forward on everything. Like, all right, whatever the circumstance is, there is a solution. Like,
gotta find it.
Yeah, gotta find it.
Absolutely. What was it like playing for him in particular, and maybe some advice that stuck with you early on that they got you through it?
There's so much. But I would say playing for him early on, people, they always say coach has favorites, and people like to label me as one of those, but I still think I got yelled at some. Playing for him is like no other because everyone else on the other side hates him. And then you see, like, he's so down for you and he makes people mad. Like, he'll say whatever you probably you're thinking as a player. He's going to say it. Oh, yeah, yeah. He's going to say it and he's going to look at you in the face and be like, and? Like, you know, he's about that life. And so playing for him, it makes you, like, proud. Like, you want to prove, like, if he says something to the media, I'll be in the huddle like,
down for him.
yeah, I'll be in the huddle like, listen, y'all already know Coach said that, so, like, let's do our thing. Like, just the advice that he always just gave us was that no one cares. Like, people think that people care about your situation. No one cares. Like, they don't care if we're battling injuries. They don't care if we have no seniors. People never care. And so once you realize that in all aspects of life, like, your boss don't care what's going on at home. You know, like, no one cares. And so I've always kept that mentality. Like, people don't care why you're late. You late. Like, people don't, you know what I mean? Like, if you keep that mentality that no one cares, figure it out and do it right, that's kind of what stuck with me.
Less stress you'll have on yourself, too.
Yeah.
What was your first impression of Maya Moore?
I remember playing pickup with her, and I'm like, yo, she different. Like, you know, you could just, when you just see people do stuff, just like, what was that? Like, you know what I mean? And then she do something else, and you're like, oh, she's legit. And you just knew, I mean, and there's a lot of players that come out and just, real talk, there's a lot of players that get all kinds of hype, and then when you see them, you be like, they're okay. Yeah, you know, like, they might be the best in that class, but that might be a weak class, so, you know, they're all right. She had all the hype, so you come in looking at her in that lens, and
she had all the game.
Yeah. I mean, as good as advertised, just some of the stuff she would do, like, I would really just be like, Mama, I know you lying. And I got to play with her in college and in the pros. And so to see her in college, she already had that just raw, natural ability. She can do everything. But then to see her in the pros, and, like, she had honed in on, like, she knew she was a killer and she was killing every night. Not that she wasn't in college, but you could just tell, you know, she's like one of those generational players that you talk about. You're not going to see many more like her.
Did you play with Simone, too?
Oh, you know I did. Simone Augustus, yeah. Our Minnesota team.
Y'all had a mob, bro.
I met Sylvia Fowles was on that team as well. We were. That's why people thought I was crazy in 2017.
Y'all was deep. Your senior year, 39-0.
Yeah.
National champions. Yeah. Any doubt ever creep in? Anyone ever come close to knocking that crown off during that run?
I mean, think about this. Going to UConn and not winning a championship. Period. I mean, every time I tell somebody I go to UConn, they're like, how many you won? Like, that's the first question everybody asks. My junior year, I was sitting in the goose egg, so my senior year, I would say scared. I was terrified to go down as the worst in history. They let us know we would be the worst, too. Damn. Like, the coaching staff would let us know, like, we always win here, you know, like, you guys got to do it. And so I remember the preseason. It started in preseason, like, where I was turned up. Like, I was crazy. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was on one because I just didn't want to be that one that left without it. And then you get halfway through the season, we haven't lost a game, and I'm like, all right, that's dope. But once you get towards the end of the season, you haven't won. You don't want to be that first loss in the tournament. You get bounced out. So I would say the whole season we were tight. And what I mean by tight is, like, you know, like, we got to do everything right because we don't have any more chance. I didn't have any more chances. And so my teammates treated it like they didn't have any more. And that was the dopest thing to me. We had a Tina Charles on that team, Maya Moore. And I think they wanted it more than me sometimes in the way that they would be offended if people weren't doing things right because they would be like, this is her last year. You know, like, they would get on to people using that as the incentive. And so that was probably the coolest part about that year is how much everyone wanted it for me.
You still were able to have fun, though, even though you were, okay.
You know, it was my
Come on, then.
It was my senior year, so let's be clear.
Coach Thompson, man, we was playing Villanova, and dude had a sign that said Allen Iverson, the next MJ, and had MJ crossed out, and it had OJ. And it was four dudes in the stands, and they had on all orange jumpsuits with chains and shackles and all that. And Coach Thompson was like, nah, if y'all don't get them out of here, if y'all don't get them out of this gym right now, we not playing. and they escorted him out of there. And the game went on. That dude, like, I remember just being at the free throw line when I came to Georgetown, and everybody just screaming, Jailbird, Jailbird, Jailbird. And I had to deal with all that. And he was so protective of me, man. You know what I mean? Like, even the first night that I was on campus, he came up there, and everybody, Coach Thompson, you know, I'm doing the shit that I don't supposed to do, of course. You know what I mean? I'm smoking. You know what I mean?
You was all in back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was all in
man,
back
I'm
then.
smoking, whatever. Coach Thompson came up there, and it was like, Coach Thompson, look from you. Man, I remember just trying to get myself together, washed my face. You know what I mean? Just trying to get right.
You can't wash the high off.
Man,
that ain't work.
No, but he ain't know. He ain't know.
Really?
Like,
You think he didn't
knew.
know?
That nigga knew.
He knew, bro.
knew.
Hell yeah, man. Come on, you know he knew
probably
that,
knew.
bro.
I came up there, he was like, you all right, little man? Like, yeah. You know, I was trying to get away from him so fast. Like, I'm cool, coach. He told me, why you standing so far back here? Come here. So now you telling me he probably knew.
I'm telling you, he
probably
come on,
knew.
man.
He definitely
He
did.
probably knew. This little motherfucker high as hell, man.
He knew it.
You know what I mean?
But like you said, he was protective. He was going.
But he was like, and he always talked about the fact that I never complained about them people throwing me in jail like that. When people tried to, at home, I love Virginia, and I rep it to the fullest. But they tried to ruin me. They didn't want me to be what you just described.
Yeah.
And who I am to the masses. You know what I mean? They didn't want for me to go to any country in the world. And as soon as I get off the plane, everybody in the airport know who I am. They didn't want that. It was certain people that didn't want that. The guy that locked me up, that threw me in jail, he died, and me and my baby girl sent his family flowers. You ain't do nothing but make me stronger.
Straight up.
That's all you did was make me strong. I needed you in my life. I needed you. You was monumental in my life. You was an intricate part of my life.
You touched on my next question. What did you learn? I mean, that was obviously a highly publicized incident in the bowling alley that, like you said, nearly ended you before you really got started. What did you learn about yourself and your views on just what kind of threat they saw you as?
Matt, what I learned was I knew that I was young and immature. Because of being in jail, I wasn't even scared. Like I would like now, you know what I mean? If I was to go to jail right now, I would be terrified because I'm older. I'm not immature like I was back then. Back then I was just, man, it's whatever. Back then I would do a dumbass. First of all, I was the worst rapper in the world. You know what I mean? I was doing it.
I wouldn't say that.
But I was doing it because my homeboys, that was what they wanted to do. So the opportunity presented itself and I could help them. So that's why I did it. You know what I mean? Like I learned from them. Didn't learn well, but I learned from them. You know what I mean? But back then, Matt, I was so nonchalant. And the only thing that I was scared of is that my dream of being who molded me to be as an athlete was gonna be over. Like, the old head people in my life, I just never wanted to disappoint them.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had that fear, not of Mo kicking my ass.
He did that a couple times.
He threw me through a windshield before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just not being who God gave you the talent to be.
Absolutely.
You Matt Barnes, you Steve Jackson. You supposed to be what God gave you the talent to end up being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was my fear. That was my fear.
Letting them down.
Letting them down, and then the fact of, like Coach Thompson used to tell me, oh, you up this motherfucker, you eating 3 times a day, huh? You eating breakfast, you eating lunch, you eating dinner. But your mom down there, and some days she don't even eat. She living down there, and the week, my homeboys used to tease me, they called it the Dawes Effect shit, straight from the sewer. Cause in our crib, we had the
just singing Dawes Effect.
we had the crib, and we never could be barefooted in our house, cause the sewer from up under the house. Used to
through the carpet.
Yeah, and it's just wet. Like you walking through the motherfucking crib and it just whoosh, 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 whoosh. You know what I mean? And it's stinking like a motherfucker. Cut the lights on, roaches running every goddamn where. No water, no hot water. You know what I mean? No food, baking soda. What? Baking soda and welfare cheese in the motherfucker. And he used to, you know, that's what was his way of getting to me. Oh, you want your mama to stay down there?
Right? By fucking around, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Keep living like this, right? I ain't gonna argue with you. I ain't gonna cut you out. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna talk no shit to you. I'm just gonna tell you. This is what you want for your mom and your sisters, right? And I could just snap out of it, Steve. You know what I mean? And go get right back on my path. But I don't know. I know I went all over the place from what you asked me, but
Nah, we needed that. We want that. That's what we want to learn. We spoke on two people, obviously one being here, Mo, and then John Thompson. It sounds like to me, from the outside looking in, were two integral figures in your life and kind of kept you from making all these lefts and rights and kept you going straight. Talk to us a little bit about both them. Obviously, we just lost, you know, one of the greatest coaches of all time, rest in peace, Coach Thompson, but I know he was integral in, you know, keeping you on the right path.
What he used to tell me about all the time is the shit that I was just talking to you about. He said I ain't never complained for what they did to me. He always talked about how he admired me for what they did for me and being that young and not complain. But my whole thing was God gave me another chance. So it won't no need to complain because I got a chance. Like I'm recruited by everybody in the whole country in both sports. Everybody. And the situation happened with me and they almost got away with it, Steve. They almost got away with it. Because if my mom didn't go up there and beg him to save my life, it wouldn't be no Allen Iverson, the cultural icon that everybody know, if he didn't give me a chance. He gave me a chance. You remember when John Thompson was known as Lonzo, Patrick, Dikembe, the big man coach.
Marcus Allen. I mean, not Marcus Allen. Allen. So another big man they had, another 7-footer. Last name was Allen. He from my hometown.
Well, it was big man, and everybody always talked about how he couldn't coach guards. But then all of a sudden, when you think of Georgetown, much as I love Pat, much as I love Lonzo, much as I love Dikembe, man, it's Bubba Chuck. You know what I mean?
You were 6'5" at 13 years old. You fell in love with hooping, watching Patrick Ewing.
Mm-hmm.
What role did Patrick Ewing play on basketball for you?
I mean, he played an incredible role because at that time, you know, NCAA basketball was huge.
Yeah, yeah.
Back then, 5 Slam and Jam.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it. You know, Georgetown back then, Carolina. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
It was everything. So as a kid, I was tuned in.
Right.
So, and back during that championship game when they played Carolina and watching Patrick block all those shots, man, I was enamored by that. I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I kind of patterned my game after him. And, you know, I loved the starter jackets and the gear and all that stuff growing up. I was attracted to everything that represented Georgetown, I was attracted to it.
Yeah.
And the rest was history. You know, Patrick ended up being somewhat of a mentor to me. And I remember being in the Nike ABCD camp in Princeton. And I remember Sean Kemp, Billy Owens. I mean, the whole crop was there. I mean, we were all on display in Princeton. And Big John called Patrick up. Patrick drove down from New York. And he was sitting in the stands with Big John. And as I was on the floor stretching, getting ready for the games, and I felt somebody tap me on the shoulder, and it was Patrick.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, So I had to put on the show.
Yeah. That show up.
Yeah, man. So now we've developed this brotherly type of relationship, between myself, him, and the Kembe, and Big John instilled a lot in us, a whole lot in us over the years. God rest his soul, because Big John played the center position and he played behind one of the greatest to ever do it in Bill Russell. So Big John instilled all of that knowledge in us throughout his tutelage of during my years at Georgia.
Mm-hmm. I got a short story about Big John. We was in Golden State together, and I had just came from the team, and I had a little trouble the 2 seasons before, but I had an interesting story, and I was coming back playing well, and John, they wanted to do it. John was working for TNT, and they was the one to do that Sunday special on Baron Davis.
Right.
Well, he convinced them to do it on me and tell my story and have my mom come because it was a Mother's Day game.
Oh, wow.
And he did a story on me and my mom for Mother's Day, but he forced TNT to do that. So that shows the character, and it meant a lot to me because I needed it at the time.
Right.
Because I was getting so much bad press. He wanted to give me some good press on Mother's Day with my mama. So
that's great.
I was forever indebted to him.
Man.
And like my mama tell this story too, and she get teary-eyed because she knew what I was going through at the time. So for me and her to do that on national TV, it was great.
Right.
So I owe that to Big John.
Yeah, when John walked out of that game protesting Prop 42, that was huge for all young Black athletes. And it just defined the character of who Big John was all about. He was about bringing up the next generation, man. And he knew that if that was implemented, then that would have kept a lot of young people of color from getting quality education and experience in higher learning.
And getting a good opportunity.
And getting an opportunity.
Yeah.
So that kind of speaks to the man that he was, and he taught us accordingly, based on those things. His gym was like his classroom. He received a lot of criticism because he closed his doors. He didn't allow any media in because he wanted to teach us
without distractions.
Without a distraction, without being dissected or ridiculed for his teaching tactics. They worked for us. We all turned out all right, because of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was tough love too. It was a tough love type of teaching, type of coaching.
What we needed though.
And there
was love behind it. And I feel like that's what can't be translated these days. Because everything we're saying is coming from a place of love, but it's not translated the same through the individuals we're trying to give it to.
No, you're right. You're definitely right about that. And then now players don't receive it quite like we received it back then. Like I said, the word fragile is used quite a bit because unfortunately it's hard to say the things that need to be said to people. It's hard to say those things that need to be said to these players, because they take offense to it. They're fragile from that perspective, when ultimately it's about helping you improve your way of thinking.
That's the only reason why we're talking to you. To help you.
Exactly. Improve your way of thinking, so you can be successful.
That's it.
That's all it's about.
You led SC to back-to-back national titles and were named tournament MVP.
I was one of many on that team.
You helped.
I helped. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I assisted. I love that. I assisted.
But you were also named MVP both times, so you did a little bit more than that. What was the environment like back then? I mean, obviously the press. I'm a UCLA guy, but I always had a lot of respect for what SC has always meant in the sports world. What was LA like back then for you and your teammates? You know what?
This is the one thing that did bother me. Forget UCLA. Just the rivalry. What really used to mess with all the sisters, like the female athletes at SC, why did all the good-looking brothers go to UCLA? That's what we couldn't
I don't know.
For real.
I don't know.
For real.
Jack, I don't know,
the
Jack.
good looking.
I don't know, Jack. I don't know, Jack.
Like, for real. That's not just, I mean,
Please.
like,
I did
man.
not need to hear this today. This is what I.
Our Liz was like, come on. But yeah.
Oh, my God.
But anyways, I'm just thinking about all the guys that use, okay. Anyway. Making me go somewhere I shouldn't. Come on.
Never hear the end of this. Never. You heard what Cheryl saying, huh?
What was that? I mean, I remember, us playing there, we never really looked at it. I don't think maybe the school or the students looked at it. Like, I didn't have an issue with nobody on SC. I actually loved SC football because that's back when they had Reggie Bush and all those guys. Like, did you guys look at it as like FUCLA or was it just more kind of?
It was a rivalry.
USC in the hood though, ain't it?
Yeah.
Oh, back in the day?
In the middle of it.
Oh, back in the day, it was like, you get your game on like this and then, you cross the street.
Yeah, I heard, yeah.
Y'all making sure,
In the middle of it.
Woo! It was no joke. You turn down that wrong alley.
Yeah.
If you want to. And that was another thing. Yeah, we lived in real Los Angeles. You guys were up on the hill.
Yeah. I'm more USC than UCLA anyway. Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to be in the
Thank
fun.
you. You about that life.
Yeah.
You about that life.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, but when it came to basketball and Reggie, I mean, I wouldn't wear anything UCLA, but I made sure that there was nobody up in the stands that had a thought in their mouth.
Yeah.
I love it.
Don't even do it.
This is the same. I mean, the same time you're winning championships, the Showtime Lakers are winning championships as well. So
we were their little sisters.
Is that right? Okay.
We were Showtime. Look, our practices were brutal. I've got Cynthia Cooper running her mouth, Tracy Longo, who nobody remember. Well, she was my height. White girl that could jump out the gym. And we battled each other throughout high school. You had the McGee twins and, we had Rhonda Wyndham, my point guard from the Bronx. So we had a little bit of everything. So our practices, coach just basically rolled out the ball, was great in allowing us to be who we are, our personalities. Would step in when we,
needed it.
Got a little twisted, but the games were the fun part.
Yep.
Practices where we honed ourselves, our skills and everything else. We had to check our egos at the, and that was our captain, Juliet Robinson, check your ego at the door. And once we stepped on the floor, it was about business. It was, and then you had we had Magic and the Lakers and, them coming in occasionally watching us play. And we were playing at the time at the sports arena. So, we were Showtime.
That's dope. I love it. I'm going to give you some names. I want you to tell me what you think. Deborah Robinson.
Oh, just like a brother. No, I'm sorry. She was a rebounder.
This is Dennis's sister, right?
Dennis's sister.
They said the best rebounder in the family. Yeah.
Pam McGee did her dirty in the championship game because she got in her ear, started talking to her, saying, "I can't believe Kim Mulkey just missed that. You were wide open. You had me pinned." Talking to her throughout the game. Man, I can't believe Kim Mulkey just sat at the. Janice Lawrence won't even pass you. That's a high-low, and you got me pinned behind. And then all of a sudden she starts talking, "Why did you give me the ball, Kim?" And now there's so she talented, but she had some things going on upstairs.
Like her brother. Pam McGee, one of my former teammates' mom, JaVale McGee's mom.
Pam, hardest working, block to block, hustle, rebounder, will not be denied on the boards. Physical, funny. She would pause to think sometimes. I'm like, are you hearing something? But I now know she was just pausing to think, Yeah. Great teammate.
Cynthia Cooper.
Woo! We could not see eye to eye on anything.
Shaq and Kobe.
Oh, it was, and I will say, she was Kobe. And I had some Shaq in her because I had some Shaq in me where, Kobe, you can be you, but you ain't gonna tell me how to do shit. Now, You know, and I would sit there, I'm like, Cooper, do you ever shut up? Let me just ask, do you ever shut up? And we
She younger than you?
Older.
Okay.
Older. And I was, look, coming out of high school, you're hearing you're the end all be all. I started drinking my Kool-Aid at a very young age. So now I got this other mouth who wants to go at me. I've got, you know, and I knew I was good, but I didn't believe I was good. So I was insecure. So you're gonna challenge me. I ain't no punk.
Right.
I may live in Riverside, but I ain't no punk. So she would come out, I'm from Watts. See, she would say that I'm from Watts. I'm like, and
She from Watts.
a fist still tastes the same.
Yeah.
A fist still tastes the same. Want to try it? You know, I mean, we were sitting there, I mean, you know, and you know, the twins were like, Cheryl, she's from Watts, and I would pop off, I don't care, But on the court, simpatico.
Yeah.
Simpatico. But I will say a couple things about Cynthia. A self-made, driven, superstar, Hall of Famer, so well-deserved.
Deep. Last but not least, Kim Mulkey.
Oh!
Coach.
I used to call her Dirty South. You just Dirty South.
Dirty South.
Not South. South.
With the F.
Brilliant basketball mind. Tremendous IQ. Great floor general. Fierce competitor. Is one of the, should have been the starter of the Olympic team. Hands down.
Really?
Who was the starter?
Lee Henry.
Interesting.
And that was Pat's player, Pat Summitt, the late great Pat Summitt's player. But Kim Mulkey, hands down, should have been the starter.
She was nice.
Because I'm telling you, when she would come in, she's like, Miller, I just need you to fly. You just fly, I'll get the ball to her. She would get that ball. She already knew where everybody was. She could play the game with her eyes closed and would know what pass, when to hit it, timing and everything else. Barking this, knew your position, your cut, where you should have been. I can't believe you still out here. I mean, everything. So to watch her and to play against her was a pain. Playing with her, a joy. No surprise at her success as a head coach.
Is she misunderstood? She kind of gets a bad rap now.
She just swaggy. She doing it her way, man.
Kim is Kim. Kim is calculated.
Never broke character, huh?
I love that. Never broke character.
Never broke character.
What you see is what you get. If you don't like it,
fuck it.
Fresh too.
Oh yeah. She just, you know, she's the female Liberace.
What up, y'all? This is Matt.
Your boy Stack.
From the All the Smoke podcast.
Big news. We're teaming up with the ultimate sneaker plug, StockX.
You see it. It's on our feed. Let me put you on to something real quick. If you're serious about sneakers and style, you need to be on StockX.
For the rares kicks to the latest releases, StockX gives you access to everything you need to level up your game. No more missing out, just straight up access to what's next.
Head to StockX.com or download the StockX app to level up your collection.
It's the game changer. StockX. Now you know.
This episode is brought to you by Boost Mobile.
Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network. I know we stay joking, but let me take a second to put on my serious voice. Because this isn't a joking matter. Me personally, I would never joke about a 5G network that has invested billions in building 5G towers across the country.
Me neither.
Not even once.
Me neither.
Feel me?
Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network and also provides coverage across 99% of America. Seriously. Visit boostmobile.com or your nearest Boost Mobile store for more information.
The Boost Mobile network together with our roaming partners covers 99% of the U.S. population. 5G speeds not available in all areas. Bro, it's been a long day of work, man. I'm ready to get baked.
You ain't never lied.
No. I mean toasted.
Yes, sir.
Gooey. Melted. It's gonna be nice.
Wait a minute, bro. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Jimmy John's, bro. After years of perfecting the cold sandwich, Jimmy John's is turning up the heat on their sandwich game.
Jimmy John's toasted sandwiches are finally here.
Try one of their 3 new toasted sandwiches with like my favorite, the chicken bacon ranch, roast beef and cheddar, or the ultimate Italian.
Or why not try one of your Jimmy John's favorites, toasted?
Each sandwich is the perfect combination of crunchy and melty. They're here and they're hot.
Order online at jimmyjohns.com, the Jimmy John's app, or stop by your local Jimmy John's for a perfectly toasted sandwich. Satisfy your toast buds.
Shaquille O'Neal comes to LSU. What's your first early memories of Shaq?
Gigantic guy, like in shape, confident, playful. And I remember him saying in the dorm one day, this is before contracts even exploded the way they did. He's, I'm gonna be the first guy to make 80 million. He made way more than 80 million. But he was relentless. You could see the passion in his game. He was a people's person, you know, the way he is now. Very playful, comical. But I knew that we had something special, but we just couldn't put it together.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, you were highly touted, decorated. Shaq was Shaq. I think Stanley Roberts gets lost in the mix. How good was Stanley Roberts?
Hold up, not for me, because I grew up a couple of miles from there. No, they had the original 2 big fellas in him. Like, Stanley did not get overshadowed if you watched LSU and if you was from that area. He was just as big as Shaq. Trust me, he was just as big as Shaq.
I was from California.
That's
so
what I'm saying, but in the area,
that's
he
why
was just as big as Shaq.
Yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, nationwide,
Yeah.
talk to us about Stanley Roberts and what his game was like.
Stanley, by far, was way more talented and skillful than Shaq. Stanley could shoot it. He could shoot his free throws. And he can take you down. And now, he didn't have the Shaq bringing it up whole court. But outside of that, and even Shaq admitted it. Shaq said, look, Stanley dominated him. The only thing with Stanley, man, and he'll tell you to this day, we were at a convention at LSU some years ago, because I hardly ever get back, and Stanley was eating and the ball, we basketball players, the ball rolled by, we gonna grab it and touch it. Stan was eating, talking, ball rolled by.
Looked at it.
And he just kept on, and I looked, I said, man, this dude, seriously, he don't want nothing to do with the game of basketball. But that's just him. Even when he was playing, man, I had to, and I could beat this dude, but I had to sometimes piss him off. Coach was like, man, get under the skin. I was like, ain't nothing but give me the ball. Give me the ball. But he'll go off, but he'll be missing 2-3 days. He'll just show you, I can do this, and then he won't. So he didn't have that discipline and that work ethic. And I remember telling him one summer, man, I said, Stan, I had tears in my eyes, man, I would talk to him, because I knew him. I said, Stanley, man. I said, man, if you just work hard, be consistent. I said, man, you can write your ticket. You can name your price. He looks at me. He said, man, at the time my name was Chris. He said, Chris, man, I appreciate you, man. He said, man, but he said, I ain't gonna listen. He said, I said, and I knew he was telling the truth. I said, it even, man, make my eyes water when I think about it. I said, man, this dude has so much, man, so much.
Yeah. In the documentary, Shaq spoke to a particular performance where you had 40 points against Mississippi State on the road, Confederate flags in the stands, yelling, going crazy. He said that was the single greatest performance he's ever seen, playing with Kobe, playing in the league all these years. He said what you did in that game, he'll always remember as the greatest single performance. Talk to us about that game and just the environment when you're coming back home and it seems like your home is against you.
Well, ain't no scene.
Yeah, was.
They were definitely against me. As soon as I walked out and they saw my feet coming out the tunnel,
the
man,
boos started.
Yeah. That was a great game. I wouldn't have thought that would be the game that he'd say. However, I do remember that game, and I remember Dale got extremely upset because he didn't like going to Mississippi. He didn't like, if it was his preference, he would have flew in, played, and left, wouldn't have spent money in the hotel. He spent money in a motel. We stayed in a motel. He wanted to spend the least amount. But there was a period in the game where Dale was like, you know what, and I felt kind of awkward. He said, okay, y'all don't want to play? Come down and shoot it every time. And I'm like, I came down and I was playing, but if somebody's open, I got to give it to them. But I think, I don't know if we won that game, that particular game, but it was a stretch when I just took control and went off. And I'm definitely thinking that's what he's referring to. So it's good that he at least remembers it. Yeah.
Can you speak to the importance of Dale Brown? Because even in the documentary, he was just still so high on you and had so much love for who you were as a man, not just a basketball player, but speak to his importance in your journey.
Man, Dale, they came to recruit me in Mississippi. And one of the main reasons I went there actually is because I know better now. You know, I do believe that athletes should get paid. Right, but I was a little scary. I didn't want anything to mess up my career. And they just came off of, I think, suspension for something. Hot Rod Williams out of, I forget his name, out of California. But, man, they never, when he came in, everybody else is offering you stuff. Like, you gonna come and you gonna start right away, blah, blah, blah. And in my young mind, I'm saying to myself, we don't even know what tomorrow's gonna bring. How could you offer me something? Somebody else may come in and outplay me. And I just always felt funny about that. But Dale came in and he said, listen, we got fair serving. You know, we believe that you can play. Bop, bop. We believe in your talent. If you show us that this is who you are, you're going to play. And, you know, I'm kind of like old school, you know what I mean? Like, okay. And they was just straight up with me. Mm-hmm. And I just shook their hand and I said, listen, I'm coming to LSU, but I kept it quiet for a while because I was told in Mississippi, you want to keep Mississippi schools because I wasn't out of high school yet. Mm-hmm. So they say keep one of them or so on the list because you don't want them to start giving you problems. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's why I kept the Mississippi school on the list. But I already knew that I wanted to go to LSU. And so the other thing that clinched it was Coach Carr's. We talked like thousands of hours, about 1,000 hours. 90-some% of them had nothing to do with basketball. And so to me, that meant a lot. Yep. Like these people, you know, potentially are gonna, you know, they're gonna care for me more than the game. And he held true to his promise. To his word. And I got there and he saw it. And he just said, hey, man, I want you to go for broke. And he trusted me, too. He knew that, okay, I wasn't just going to be a renegade with it. You know, and he also, man, he was the one that influenced me, that led me to, more so to Islam, because he gave me the autobiography. Because he read all the time. And he had so many connections, whether, you know, different people, man, whether it's Dick Gregory, Farrakhan, I mean, you name it. And he would always hand us material to read and tell us what we thought, you know. Because I came out, I almost didn't make it, man. I failed the ACT the first time, and then the second time. And if it wasn't for a doctor that instilled into this woman to have the classes privately, I probably would have been a Prop 48 like Stanley. But I was able to pass it, and I came in. But the whole time at LSU, man, they had put me in a remedial reading class. I could read, I could spell, you know, but my comprehension skills wasn't great, my critical thinking skills. So they would ask me questions prior to my being admitted into classes, like, had me to read something. They said, what does this mean? What does this word mean? I don't know. I could spell words, I ain't even know what they meant. What does this word mean? I don't know. What are you getting from the story? I was just reading, man. I was sounding good. And I felt so humiliated, though. And so Dale Brown began to give me little material here and then. I would read it. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And even when I would give interviews, there were times he would stop. Hey, man, tell them what you think, right? Because he saw me pussyfooting around with, and so he would challenge me.
This is all the smoke.
Right, then he put me in a summer job. My summer job was with this guy named Gus Wiles, who was an author who had a play, one of his plays presented on Broadway. So Gus would come in, and every morning I would sit, my whole thing, I would come in 5 to 10 minutes every morning, I would sit with him, and we just talk. And in our conversations informally, he just injects certain ideas in terms of speech and everything, and then I'd sit in my office and I'd read, and they'd take me to lunch. My whole day was reading and having conversation. And then that next year when I came and it was time to do interviews, I was way more seasoned than I was the year before. Right. And then that started a process for me of wanting to know more and read more and to become more vocal and confident. So yeah, I'm indebted to him for that.
College 2006 SEC Player of the Year. Had a run to the Final Four, but some badass school out there in that West Coast with light-skinned kids knocked y'all out the tournament. Was it UCLA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to us about college, man. I enjoy watching you because I was already in the league, but you was putting in work in college, bro.
I can't stand you motherfuckers, man. I really can't. Like, if you think about that, like, I got a problem with Jordan Farmar, and you know what I mean? Like,
You should.
We was supposed to beat them boys, but they was just so well coached.
Yeah, Ben Highland had
They
the
were
boys
they
open.
were so well coached, and that was just a great experience. I think I was so caught up in the lights too, because you think
They
about
were bright.
Final Four, like we was doing all type of promo, you know.
Yeah, that was
We
your
young
first taste of the business.
Yeah, like we young kids, you know, I think the lights were so big for us, and you know, we didn't expect to get there.
Right.
Like, we knew we were good, you know what I mean? But we did achieve some crazy stuff in college, and we, you know, lost to you guys. So.
Best part of college for you?
God damn.
LSU.
LSU, they showed a lot of love.
You was at home.
But they was still, though. You know
was
what I
at
mean?
home.
Like, I just missed the atmosphere because, you know, college was a little different. College was like the pros for me. It was like a baby G League for me. Like, you know what I mean? I had a lot of fun. Like, you know, we're a football school. So
Right.
it's like basketball was like, oh, okay, like a surprise, you know?
Right.
So, you know, I had some great fun. I had a lot of fun in college.
Me too.
I did my thing.
People don't understand how crazy those football games be. Like, you can hit the city, like, rumbles, like, miles away. You can hear rumbles on the ground like an earthquake from that stadium, bro.
Bruh, Saturday night in Tiger Stadium is
Crazy.
As a basketball, right, that made me come to the school.
Yeah.
Dope.
Right? Because when I went on my visit, you know, I was right around the corner, and I seen that. And then I seen all the track girls in one section, and then I just seen all the joints. I had to stay. It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? LSU had the, you know, the AKAs and the pro bands, and then Southern right down the street.
To
I had to stay. So
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah,
I dig it. I dig it.
True or false, back to basketball, Reinhardt and Bahamute locked you up in that game.
Oh, that's cap.
I was about to say, bro.
That's
I was about to say, I know you ain't letting that ride.
Ryan Hollins and Mute? No, there's a double team.
They still couldn't do nothing with the
They
big
can't
fella.
do nothing with me, man. Right now.
Yeah. Still, to this day.
Yeah, they can't do nothing.
You end up playing with Rick Pitino in Kentucky. Were there any other colleges you really thought about going to, or was it always Kentucky?
Midwest guy. So obviously I was right behind that Michigan run. So definitely thought about going to Michigan. But I did like all of us did, man. I had 10 home visits. I went on 5 visits. Michigan, Kentucky, UNLV, Illinois. So I took my regular 5 visits, had my 10 home visits, and really kind of let the process play itself out. But I just love Kentucky style play. Mashburn was one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Mashburn was there. And I liked it because he was able to, you know, he could handle, he could shoot the three. So I felt like, man, I could fit into that system right there. And then coach was telling me that Mash was coming out. So we're gonna have room for you to come in and be able to play right away. So that's what really intrigued me to go to Kentucky because of the style of play. And I saw Mashburn, so I was like, man, he's gonna let me handle and ain't gonna take my game away from him.
Talk to us about Rick Pitino and just your whole Kentucky experience.
Love him to death, man. It was unbelievable for me when I came in. I was, like all of us, I was a young high head. You know what I mean? Thought I knew everything, and he humbled me and taught me how to work hard and put me in a good position to be the best basketball player. Because I thought I was a point guard. No, I did. I thought I was a point guard. So,
I mean, you weren't?
I mean, but I thought I wanted to play the point.
Right.
Point forward. He was like, look, we're going to put you at this point forward, stack right. I played the 4. Me and Walter McCarty. So we played, Walter, y'all know how Walter was. Walter was kind of a 4-2. And we played the 4, and he was like, I'm going to still let you handle. I'm going to let you do all your things. I'm going to let you shoot the 3. But we're going to have a traditional point guard on the floor. And the only thing I could do is thank him, man. And even take it a step further. After my rookie year, you guys know he came to Boston and coached me in Boston. And made the All-Star team, turned me loose, put me at the 4. When I came into the pros, I was at the 3. And I had a good rookie year. I averaged 17 and a half, made first team all rookie team, played well, but he was like, your advantage is at the 4.
Quickness.
He was like, look, you got to go to the 4. He said, I know you don't want to, but he said, that's where you're going to be able to.
What was your playing weight when you first came in the league?
Came in at 235, I think, when I went in the draft. Got to like 245 and tapped out with the Heat. You know, Pat Riley don't mess around. So I played at like 250 with the Heat on a low 7%, 8% body fat side with Pat.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah,
solid.
But in Boston, when I first came in, I was like 235. Got to like 245. Played around that weight. And just stayed there, stayed in between 255, like no more than 255 when I played, because I had to guard some threes. You know what I mean? That year we won a championship. I'm guarding that whole run. I'm guarding Richard Jefferson, Josh Howard. Y'all niggas run. I can't chase y'all around. I'm chasing y'all around.
We got to wrestle with your ass.
I'm chasing y'all around, man. These screens, Richard Jefferson, Josh Howard, these boys like this. But,
moving.
That's how Coach loved UD.
Yeah.
He was like, Twan, if you want these minutes, I ain't budging on UD. He had a special love for UD, so I moved to the 3.
Whatever it takes. But before we get back to the league, 96 national championship, loaded team. TD, McCarty.
9 pros.
9 pros.
9 pros. I was just talking to somebody earlier about this today. Just unbelievable team. The best thing that ever happened to us was that year, and you guys can understand this, in college, we went on our European trip. So we got a chance that year to go on a European trip. We was going to be ranked number 1, but that trip gave us an idea of what we can really be. And to be honest with you, man, our practice was tougher than our games. And that's not bragging or something, but our practice used to be strong because we was fighting for minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I led the team in minutes, and I think I only averaged like 27, 28 minutes. But our margin of victory was 24, 25. You know what I mean? So we blew out a lot of teams, so we didn't get a chance to finish a lot of games. But I love that team. We still together today, man. We got a group chat that we all stay on, wishing each other happy birthday, holidays, everything, man. We stay in really good contact, really special group. And that we still are all friends, too, to this day. So I love that about that group.
Did y'all have like a A team and a B team?
Like, let me tell you what's funny. We didn't have an A or B team, but you know what he did start that year? He started a JV team.
So let me tell you why I'm asking you that.
I know why you asked me. Go ahead.
Because we bust their ass when I was at Oak Hill.
Yep.
I was a senior in high school, and they brought it. See, because y'all didn't play. Y'all was the A team to me.
Yeah. No. This is what happened. Nazi Muhammad.
Yes.
Nazi Muhammad came in and signed with us. Nazi was over. People don't know this. Nas was like 350, 360 when he came into college. Lost 100 pounds. Coach P used to be on him every day, man. He had to work out twice a day, plus practice. Get out his way off. But he created the JV team for Nas.
Really?
Yes. So Nas had his own schedule. So he had him and like
Wayne Turner.
Wayne played a couple games. But Stack, don't get you busted.
It wasn't y'all. Y'all wasn't there.
It was some managers on the team too, bro. It wasn't
but we was in high school.
I know that.
Everybody's in college.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, it's going down. We bust that ass. But at the same time, I'm going to keep it funky. We knew y'all wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? We knew all the best players, the starters wasn't there. But that still was a game for us to get up
But that
for.
was done for Nas, so he could be able to play.
That's crazy. Huh?
Right.
True. Facts. You right. Oak Hill wasn't no regular high school either at the time.
That's true.
It's true.
Ron Mercer. I know about Oak Hill. I've heard Oak Hill stories. But no, I'm saying that team was created.
I never knew that,
Yes,
though.
nobody knew that. That was created for Nas.
To get him in shape.
Yeah, get him in shape and to give him some playing time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it was another player on the team I can't think of right now.
Who was your guys starting 5 that year? The year you won
My
it?
year we won it, TD, Tony Delk, Walter McCarty, myself, Derek Anderson.
That was what I was thinking about.
And Mark Pope.
With none of them in that scrimmage.
Mark Pope. And sometimes if Pope won that, Jeff Shepard. We got Shep.
Is that his?
The son is at Kentucky.
That's
right
his
now.
son?
That's his
Doing
son.
his thing?
Yeah.
That's his son.
Let's jump back to college, man, because you had a motherfucking legendary career, legendary teammates, legendary coach. Tell me what that experience is like, because Jack went straight to the league, but I went to UCLA, and it was the best time of my life.
My dumb ass.
Nah, you want a dumb ass. You just got to do it. But like,
nah, Joe, you know, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I couldn't pass that damn test, bro. I couldn't pass that.
You ain't telling me nothing. I don't know. I know a lot of people that go overseas for that. They ain't tripping.
Right.
But like one thing I would say though, Jack, is if you ever had the opportunity, bro, that would have been your best time ever, man.
Oh,
like,
man.
like for me, I knew I was going for 8 months, you know what I mean? But like, I'm like, yo, I'm here to win a championship. If I don't win it, cool, but I'm gonna have this most fun ever. And to being able to go to class or get up and grind every day, man, like we had, bro, when I tell you Coach Cal was one of the crazy coaches, after like 2 weeks, I said, yo, I think I picked the wrong school. I want to transfer. I called my mom. She was like, boy, you staying. Like, listen, every morning we had to be on the suicide line. We had 20 suicides in 20 minutes at 6 a.m. every day for summer school. So like our first 10 suicides was like the basic one, free throw line, bang, bang, bang. Then the last 10 was baseline, other free throw line, like, and I'm like, yo, did I pick the right school? Like, this is not basketball.
That's crazy.
Then, I tell you one, type thing. So I tell you one of the funniest stories is we run a suicide, we got like 4 left. And like the guards had to finish like 28, bigs had to finish like 35. DeMarcus' feet caught on fire. Like, so he stopped running. Like he really, he mid-suicide. He run to the sideline to me, I quit, man, I quit. Like, my feet burn, I ain't doing it no more. Coach Cal, he would want to be all Billy, so he was like, you know what? If he would have finished the suicide, I was going to give y'all tomorrow off. Knowing he wasn't going to give us tomorrow off, just trying to use it. So we got suicides the next morning, man. DeMarcus sitting at half court. He ain't got to run, you know, he the reason why we got to run today. He's sitting at half court, no running. We all look at him like, yo, we got to jump him after this because, like, there's no way we got to run suicide. And he ain't got to run. But we know one nobody beating DeMarcus up back then.
No way.
But yeah, like, Jack, that school, man, it was the most fun ever, man. Just being able to prepare every week, having maybe 2 or 3 games. And the most fun with me was going on the road. Like, you don't get that atmosphere and that culture they brought with talking trash, and it's just you and your 14 guys. And you going out there to go to battle and go to war, and it's like, you got to win or survive out here. Ain't nobody on your side. You know, Kentucky fans travel, but it feel like...
Hell yeah.
It still didn't feel like a home game because of the way they was treating us, but it was dope, man. You couldn't ask for nothing better. And, like, everyone for me being number 1 pick, I wanted to go back to school just to win the national championship, just to get that atmosphere and that, like, fun and how exciting that was.
That's what's up. Tell me about what that team was like, because you played with a lot of NBA players in college. Your team was rock star status. You know what I mean? That's when social media just started hitting. Like, y'all was the shit. Bled, Boogie. Like, what was that like?
It was so, man, like, we stayed in the Wildcat Lodge, and, like, we walked, like, outside our building where we stayed, and the practice
What's
court,
Wildcat Live?
It's like where the players stay, but we got to let, like, 10 regular students stay so like you get extra benefits. It's like where we stay, like having an apartment. So we had like a game room and all that in there. But like from here to like 10 steps is like where we practice at. But it would be like 60, 70 cars and people waiting for autographs every day, and we couldn't get away from them. So it was like, yo, we can't even walk to class without. So like we started like using the golf cart to go to class. Football team got mad. They told us we couldn't use it no more. So we had to walk. It's like
haters.
It was so cold. We walking backwards to class. But what was so fun about that year was, you know, nobody, like the returning players that came, like Patrick Patterson and Ramon Harris and Darius Miller, none of these guys never played for Cal. So like the freshmen in the upperclassmen, it's all something new for all of us. So like they didn't know what Coach Cal was looking for. We didn't know what Coach Cal was looking for. So we all had to bond and come together. But we did everything together, bro. We went bowling together, out to eat together. Like we treated it like you do as a league team that has great camaraderie and one of those good teams because they hang out together so much.
Nigga, that was a league team.
Yeah, so
I was just about to say, nigga, y'all had 18 pros on your team.
But you know, like, we had all the other guys that kind of like, you know, like, if you got like me, Pat, DeMarcus, E. Bled, like, we know we about to go. But all the other guys, like, man, they ain't gonna hang with us. They don't really rock with us. But we like, nah, bro, we all a brother. We all a family. Like, we going to war to fight every night. If one guy get hurt, the 15 guy gonna hang with us. So to have like the guys that didn't think they was a part of our crew all to get together, that's why our team was so fun and having so much. Man, we was just doing whatever, man. Like nothing was wrong for us to do in college at the time. And we walked to the corner stores like, oh man, there go them guys again. We're like, well, we here.
That's us. College was the outside of having children and being blessed to play in the league. Like college was the funnest time of my life, man. That's
and
just
you
like your last.
And you in LA, you at UCLA, so I know you was having a blast.
Yeah, but see, I think different because LA is LA and it's so big and there's so much other shit to do. You know what I mean? So it's not you went to where motherfucking Kentucky basketball is religion.
Horses. Basketball and horses. That's
basketball
all you got.
is religion. I remember the best part, I obviously going there was dope, but my freshman year in 98 was the NBA lockout. So we had everybody at our game. So I'm tripping coming from like Sacramento, like motherfucker, we got Shaq and Kobe at our game. We got movie stars at our game. We got Snoop coming to our game. And I'm like, damn, this is what UCLA is about. Like, the shit was a trip, but it was because it was the NBA lockout. So we had hella NBA players at our game, front and center. And I'm just like, yo, this shit can't be real. Like, it was just like that real La La Land type shit. And that's when I just fell in love with this shit, bro. That shit was a blast.
That was my plan, to go to college for 8 months. We had the number one recruiting class that year at Arizona. Me, Mike Bibby, and Eugene Eckerson. We had the number one recruiting class that year.
Okay, yeah. I was loaded. Yeah, I remember that class.
Yeah. And we already had Michael Dickinson, Miles Simon. We had all them guys already. So we was going, and they ended up winning the national championship. So it worked out how it was supposed to work out. My ass just couldn't stay. I couldn't stay out the club. Test was at 8. I'm leaving the club at 5:30. That wasn't gonna work.
I ain't gonna lie, man. First time I took that test, man, I fell asleep. I was like, man, I don't need this to pass. They come back and say, all right, I'm gonna tell you one thing. You gonna be figuring something else out. I said, all right, now I gotta lock in. I brought me a snack the second time. First time I ain't bring no snack, no calculator. I'm like, I got this. You know what I mean? Spelling names wrong, doing all that. You better get this right or you gonna be hurt.
You, as the head coach, former head coach of St. Pete, made a historical NCAA run this past March. Before we talk about that run, tell us how that job came about.
The AD that we used to be the AD at St. Peter's, he worked with me at Seton Hall for 8 years. And we got the job over there. He called me up. I trust him. I believed in his vision. Gave him my first opportunity, and then the rest is kind of history.
What was that experience like? Obviously, coming from Seton Hall, going to a smaller college, but then being able to build them up, not only into a Cinderella story, but just a well-disciplined team that played hard, had a lot of heart. What was that? Talk to us about that process and how that happened.
At first it was tough, right? Anytime you go from a high major to a low major, right? Things that you're not used to, as far as budget and how you travel and, having a strength coach and things like that. So I had to work through all that stuff. But at the end of the day, to be honest with you, Matt, we just got dudes that wanted the ball, right? There's dudes that was hungry, had a chip on their shoulder, that was under-recruited. People didn't believe in them. I brought them in. I like tough guys. I played a certain way, so I want guys that fit my personality, right? So when I was going through the process of recruiting guys, I wanted guys like that, guys that, just hungry and just got something to prove that want to, eat your food, you feel me? And that's kind of the guys I brought in. And, it was a build-up for 3 years. And to be honest with you, I thought year 2, we had a good chance of doing something special, but COVID hit. And then year 3, we kind of went up and down. Then, the 4th year, we kind of put it together and kind of made this run.
Beautiful. Obviously, situations like this are always bittersweet when you're working with the lower major program, because when you do get that success, you're going to go, up to the major league, so to speak. You built such an amazing energy and identity for it. How hard was it, and what did you tell your guys when you decided to take the Seton Hall head spot?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Matt. It was easy, right? Not say easy in this point. The guys made it easy for me, right? I went in the locker room, and we was in there for 3 hours, bro, just chopping it up, kicking it. And their guys were like, Coach, you got to go. That's home. You work your butt off for this opportunity. Like, that's something we would do if we had the opportunity.
Right.
So when they told me that, it made it easy for me. And then the next 2 hours, we were just in there just reminiscing of the journey, and they making fun of me the way I coach and the way I talk and, all the other stuff that the players love to do. But no, it was easy, man. They made it easy for me, for sure.
That's beautiful. Looking back on the journey, on the experience, what particularly stood out to you about this tournament run?
You know what? Just, right, for these guys, and obviously I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I'm blessed to be here, but it wasn't for those guys. I wouldn't be here today talking to you guys, right? So for me, for them, it was like everything, right? You at a mid-major, you work your butt off. You look at this type of stuff on TV growing up. And for them guys to be in that spotlight and perform the way they performed, like I just was sitting back taking it in. Like for real. Like I'm sitting there like, these guys get a chance to build their brand right now, right? We got the white kid on my team, Doug Eddard. Like he's making a killing right now, right? With a name, image, and likeness because his beard and the way he played and America loved him. And these guys are like now starting to get everything that the high majors get, right? All the attention and stuff like that. So I just love the attention for them. And to be honest, you're just playing against the best teams and knocking them off. Real talk.
I feel that. What was it like to finally sign your name on that dotted line? Getting a chance to play there, going back, going down, and then coming back now. What was it like when you signed your name as the head coach at your alma mater? Right.
So I'm going to be, this is a real show, so you got to be real, right? There's no fake stuff here, right? So, I had to make sure they understand they wasn't going to hit me with the hometown hero nonsense, right? Because, when you're going back to your alma mater, it's like, oh, you're coming back here, so now they trying to shortchange you. I'm like, nah, you're not going to hit me with the hometown hero. Like, we're going to do this right. It got to make sense for both of us. And for me, to tell you the truth, when I looked at it, I had to make sure it was good because this is home. And when home, you don't want to mess it up, right? You want to go in there and make sure it's the right situation with the right people. And I trust the people that was here at the time, right now. And I can't mess it up. It's too important for me. So I had to make sure everything was right. So when I signed, like it was just like a sign of relief, right? Because there's just so much going on. Like that run we made and coming back and everybody's happy. But at the same time, I had to make sure it was right on both ends. For me, for the school, and financially. To keep it real.
Check this out. Deli Boys on Hulu. Two brothers, Raj and Mir, are living up the high life. Not a care in the world.
When their old man dies, it all vanishes. Poof. And they find out he just didn't own a deli, but he was a drug kingpin. And they're like, what the?
Throw in the ruthless aunt, some guys that want to kill him, and keep their dad's drug business going.
Sounds amazing, right? Deli Boys is now streaming on Hulu.
The weather's beginning to heat up. Spring is almost here, and I'm excited for spring cleaning. I love getting the opportunity to go through the closets and get all the old stuff out and get some new stuff. I'm also excited to trash my old deodorant. I just started using Mando's whole body deodorant, and it's changing the game. From the founders of Lumi, Mando's whole body deodorant is legit. It's helping guys conquer their odor in a new way. I actually switched over to Mando. When they became a partner of the show, I gave it a try and I fell in love with it. So I use this body spray and the deodorant. And let me tell you, it works well. I've got a special offer for y'all. New customers get $5 off your starter pack with the exclusive code in our link. Use code SMOKE at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. The link is in the description below. The Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 products of your choice, mini body wash or deodorant wipes. And it comes with free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, customers get $5 off the starter pack with an exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack if you use code SMOKE at shopmando.com. Shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay dry, and boost your confidence from head to toe with our guys at Mando.